Hey everybody, and welcome to Cooldown Reduction's very first Magic the Gathering set review. I am Jonathan, and I am joined by my awesome co-host Luke.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back on the show.
Yeah, and we are going to be doing the Shadows Over Innistrad set review for you guys. We'll be going through the visual spoiler on the official Magic website, so we'll just be scrolling through for that. But first, we feel like, as a preface, we're going to start with the mechanics of the set so that, we can get our rants out of the way and you can skip past them if you want. And just going down the list in alphabetical order, the first mechanic we have is called Delirium. And Delirium is a keyword, so it doesn't actually have specific rules baggage. It just ties an effect together for you. And Delirium cards care about the number of card types, like creature, instant, sorcery, enchantment, planeswalker, land, and artifact in your graveyard. And if you have 4 or more of those card types in your graveyard, a card with Delirium cares about it and either turns on or does an effect, and so it can vary quite wildly from card to card. So, Luke, tell me, how do you feel about Delirium?
I don't know. I feel okay about it. It's not the worst thing ever. It's a variation on Threshold is about all I get from it.
Did you read the article about the difference between it and Threshold?
No, but the difference is that Delirium cares about card types and Threshold doesn't. That's
Well, the article says that Threshold, which is usually universally panned by the development team for being a bad mechanic, was bad more because 7 in a limited environment is a lot of cards. It would lock people out from playing their stuff, like if they had 7 or 5 cards in their graveyard. So it would lock them out of playing spells if they don't want to turn on Threshold for whatever reason.
true.
A lot of creatures had power and toughness boosts based on Threshold, so if you lost it, things got ugly quickly. And they didn't like how powerful the Threshold cards were when they were on. So
Okay.
that makes more sense to me than the original reasoning. I thought that they didn't like Threshold is because it created intricate game states, which, does cascade into that. But, it's not hard to count 7 cards. And,
No.
and I feel like the original thing, when I first saw Delirium, I was like, ugh, that's, you don't like Threshold, but you made this. But
No, I don't know. And Delirium's not gonna be. I don't know. It's not gonna be hard to keep track of, and it's not gonna be exceptionally hard to activate. Especially
Well, yeah, they've made some good enablers, which we will get to in the set. That they've spread out the ways that or effects that colors typically have into getting more different types of permanents. In this case, especially a lot of enchantments into the graveyard for each color. So that was Delirium. Overall, I'd probably just give it a C as a mechanic because it's not all that flashy. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't make me want to brew a deck up, but I guess it does what it needs to do.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not gonna build a Delirium deck, but I'll play the mechanic.
Right. There'll probably be cards for it that make it into constructed. I would
Oh, I'm
could see
sure.
that happen.
Yeah.
The next one would be Investigate, and this is where I think some people are going to have some problems. Cards with an Investigate is I guess a keyword action.
Yeah, because it says you investigate, and
Yes.
then you perform an action upon the keyword.
And the action is to put a colorless clue artifact token onto the battlefield with 2 sacrifice to draw a card.
I am not a fan of this one.
Nor am I.
It feels pushed for the story. It's a clunky mechanic.
It certainly is. And again, while I understand the activation cost, I hate it. I hate this activate. You're making me jump through extra hoops to draw cards, which I love to do. I love to draw cards. But
That
it doesn't it doesn't feel like a reward. Like they're putting it on cards as a reward for playing the card, or that's the card's upside. And to
Uh,
me, it is not that.
no, because I think generally across the board, most cards that have Investigate on them are costed about 2 generic mana higher than they would be if they didn't. Uh, so I think they're taxing you for the tokens, of course.
And the other issue, and again we'll see this as we go through, is that I don't feel like there is enough other things to do with the clues other than sacrifice them for a card. And I feel like that's probably where it could have been really cool, is if there was a lot of stuff, like maybe even just a rare in every color that cared, that let you do stuff with your clues. That would be really cool.
That would have been, but I don't know. Every color, giving every color draw power is a pretty big deal, especially in limited. So I don't know.
And it'll also depend, because I have no idea, just from my initial reviews of this, or like glance of the set, like I don't know how fast of an environment this limited's going to be. So if it's a slower, grindy limited, then we could definitely see like clue advantage being what pushes you over the top in your games.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, moving on, we have we've got one more mechanic, and that will be Madness is returning for Shadows over Innistrad with a slightly reworked rules layout, but still the same Madness you know and love. Card with Madness can be on any card, really. I don't think, other than lands, I think we've seen it can be on anything.
Pretty sure.
And Madness is pretty much, if you would discard this card, you may play it.
Well,
For its madness cost. For its madness cost. But it gets around timing restrictions. So if you discard a creature on your opponent's turn, you can still madness it out, regardless of the fact that creatures are normally sorcery speed.
Yes. I like Madness. It's a fun mechanic.
I like Madness to a degree. I don't particularly like cost reduction mechanics. So I like when Madness is more like Kicker, where like it lets you do something extra or instead of just making a creature or a spell cheaper. That is not what I like.
There are a few of those in the set.
There are, and those are the ones that I tend to like more than just like, oh, this is a 4-mana creature, but you can madness it for 2. That's boring. But it's a strong mechanic, and I've been destroyed by it in the past. So I can't fault it for being weak. It's just not one of my favorites.
Okay.
So, all right, those are the 3 keyworded mechanics in the set. If we missed one, I'm sure people will let us know, but I don't believe so. There's some other minor themes which we'll get to as we go through, but I think we're ready to jump in. And we're just going to start with white because that's the first one on the list. So, Luke, why don't you read me the first white card on the list?
All right. So first up, we have Always Watching. It is a 3-mana rare enchantment that gives non-token creatures you control +1/+1 and vigilance.
So it's a reverse intangible virtue.
Yes. I would have been thoroughly pleased if it would have been called Tangible Virtue. But
Yeah.
we can't have everything.
No, we can't. But
It is more expensive than Intangible Virtue, though.
and it's double white.
It is.
But comparing it to, say, Honor of the Pure Glorious Anthem.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to have an Anthem back.
Oh yeah. It's not restricted to white creatures, and non-token isn't a huge deal. While there are some token producers in Shadows, there's not just a ton of them.
Yeah, and they're not mass producers for the most part. It's 1 and 2 ofs, if I remember correctly. And we're losing like Hordling Outburst, so we're not gonna have like that the token, the critical mass of them running around, at least not yet. So
Yeah. Like it.
Limited. Like would you first pick an Always Watching?
Yeah, I probably would. I'd first pick it. easily.
Right.
Because it doesn't lock you into a strategy really. It's a buff. It's
It
great.
does. It does kind of
It
slant
does.
you white.
It does. Having double white is pretty heavy incentive to play white. Uh,
Um, and we don't know how great fixing's going to be in this set. It's there, but we don't know how pervasive it is or how well it's actually going to work out. So,
yeah.
and again, we don't know the speed. So, like, is 3 mana a turn where you can afford to take off to play your enchantment, or do you need to be playing a dude there to advance your board?
It's true, but I don't know because it gives vigilance, so you get the buff and can attack that turn and still have the blocker up that you would have if you would have played a non-haste dude
And
anyway.
and if you're not woefully behind, like if you just have some dudes sitting on your board and you top deck that, it seems like a pretty good top deck.
Yeah, late game in the stall, it's great. It'll push you through.
So, I would give it a probably like a B minus
Uh,
on the F to A scale.
yeah, I would probably give it a B plus. I like it.
Okay. All right. So the next card is another rare. We have the Angel of Deliverance, which is 6 colorless and double white for a 6/6 flyer with Delirium. And whenever the angel deals damage, just damage, not combat damage, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, exile target creature an opponent controls.
I like it. It's a bomb.
That is bomb territory. It's
Uh,
pretty expensive.
it is. My favorite part of it though is it doesn't have the like Oblivion Ring clause. So even if they remove the angel later in the game,
Their
they don't
creature's
get,
gone.
yeah, they do not get their stuff back.
Yes, that's very nice.
And if you can give this angel double strike, even two creatures a turn,
or ping or any sort of
anything.
yeah. So because it doesn't have to even hit the player.
No, it is just damage.
So she seems pretty good. 8 mana is a lot to ask in a limited format, though.
It is. That's the end of the game usually.
And she doesn't like you still have to somehow hit with her. So she can't save you immediately unless you can give her haste or some way to deal damage.
It is true.
Do you think she could make inroads to constructed or the Eldrazi too overbearing in that category?
I don't know, I think her biggest roadblock for constructed play right now is her mana cost. 8 mana is a lot.
When you could just play Worldbreaker.
Yeah. That's,
And no innate protection other than being large.
well, she's large and she has flying. That's not
So,
gonna save her from everything.
well, what is it? Ultimate Price will kill her, but she dodges Grasp of Darkness and Languish.
Yes.
So, all right. In limited, I'd probably give her a B plus, maybe an A minus. I don't know how relevant the 6/6, how big the 6/6 flyer is, but I'll err on the side of caution and go B plus.
Yeah, I give her solid B.
Yeah. All right. Next on the list we have Angelic Purge, which is a common sorcery, 2 and 1 white. As an additional cost to cast it, you must sacrifice a permanent, but it lets you exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. So,
I think
oh, go ahead.
I think I would like it if it was an instant. As it sets right now, it's not one of my favorites.
It's one of your common delirium enablers. It's pretty obviously what this card does. And then this is something that we'll see throughout the set. I don't know how their formula goes for developing this sort of card, but it feels like it could have probably been cheaper, but they're keeping it like fairly costed and still putting this heavy cost on it, this sacrifice of permanent cost, because it enables delirium. And I don't know if that's fair, but it's a common too, so
This is true.
I mean it's permanent unconditional removal
Yeah.
that targets.
And in my experience, Pretty much any removal unlimited is good.
Yeah, it's cheap, but you don't really want to play it on turn 3 and sacrifice a land. You don't want to
No,
do that.
that is not optimal.
um, and we'll see if maybe there's other stuff that likes to be sacrificed, like creature wise, that gets a bonus when it dies, or if you're swimming in clue tokens, you can sack a clue token to it and pretty much come out right at even 3 mana sorcery speed, kill a dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like this card could actually end up being really good in limited.
I don't know. I still feel like the sack of permanent is a hefty price to pay.
So it's not like Oblivion Strike in Oath the Gatewatch where you're going to be first picking Oblivion Strike as a common out of pretty much anything. But I don't know. I think it's pretty. It's comparable for sure. It hits troublesome enchantments and artifacts too.
Yes, but I don't know. I can't think of anything in the set that, like, I'm pretty much I'm always going to choose a creature. I can't think of an artifact or enchantment in the set that's going to make me not choose a creature.
I can think of the blue-red one that shocks you if you have cards in your hand. That could conceivably kill you. But no, for the most part, I think so. But just that extra flexibility is... Because I don't think you're really paying for the flexibility. I think the cost is like, it's 3 mana. And I think, like, in another set, it would be reasonable to even just see this effect at 3 or 4 mana, just exile target artifact or creature, or enchantment or creature. Because, like, what was the one in Avacyn Restored was 5 mana, I think, to exile a creature or enchantment.
Yeah,
That's sorcery speed. So
it's true.
all right, so I'll give it a C. I mean, you'll almost always play the first one of it in a deck. You're probably not going to play multiples unless you've got something bonkers going on with, like, token generation. But I definitely don't see myself cutting the first copy of this card from my 40 in a limited setting.
No, I would play it. I would end up playing it. So yeah, C minus.
C minus because that sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
All right. What do we have next?
We have Apothecary Geist. It is 3 and a white for a 2/3 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, if you control another spirit, gain 3 life.
So here we have the first of the kind of minor spirit sub-theme that the set
spirit
has.
synergies.
And it was kind of prevalent in original Innistrad as well. But so we're on the vanilla test, a 2/3 flyer for 4. That's not going to cut it for me.
No. It's a little too mana intensive for a 2/3 with flying.
And even with the gain 3 life, if you have something else, I mean, what we had Courier Griffin fairly recently that was a 2/3 for 3 that gained you. It was a 2/3 for 3 that gained you 2 life.
I believe so.
So, like, that's and in the same color, and didn't require anything of you. And God, that Griffin was obnoxious.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think it's your run of the mill common.
So
it's there to lean you toward playing more spirits.
do you think, like, the three toughness, is that going to be relevant, or are we going to see, like, because I think that could definitely impact how good he is. Like, if he can block a lot of little smaller guys and probably kill them and stick around, he's going to go up in value.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't looked closely enough at the set yet to know if that's a big point.
Right. So that'll just be something to keep an eye on as the limited environment unfolds. But for now, I'm just going to give Apothecary Geist a D.
I go the C minus again.
Alrighty.
I think. Yep. Right. Next up, we have Bound by Moonsilver. This is 2 and a white enchantment aura. Enchant creature can't block, attack, or transform. You can sacrifice another permanent and attach bonds by Moonsilver to target creature. Only at sorcery speed, though, and only once each turn.
And it is uncommon.
It is an uncommon.
So here we have our pacifism variant.
Yep. I like it.
It's all right. I don't like to pay more than 2 for pacifism.
I think the transform clause is going to be a big deal.
Yes, I can certainly see maybe not running this main board, but definitely that's going to be a powerful sideboard card that I think will turn games around for whoever plays it on a werewolf or something else ugly that transforms.
Even just off the top of my head, new Avacyn. If you could keep her from flipping and dealing 6 damage to everything, that's pretty big.
Yep. And again here we see this delirium enabling thing. We can sacrifice another permanent, any type to fulfill our delirium quota, and to move this thing around if a bigger threat is revealed, which I like. I loved Stasis Snare from Shadowmoor. Is a great piece of white removal at 3. Like, because that's what if I'm gonna pay that extra mana for a pacifism, I want it to do something cool like that, like to move around.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a relevant ability. Because you can play this early, turn 3, turn 4, and then turn 7, turn 8 when there's a big creature out there that you really need to deal with. You can move it over.
Right. I mean, I think Bound by Moonsilver is pretty good, if maybe just a little unexciting. But the ability to block transformation seems like it's pretty relevant. And at uncommon, this may be one of the higher power like uncommon removals in the set. It is still sorcery speed, but you know, it effectively exiles the creature at that point.
Yeah. No, I would give it probably a B minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B minus on Bound by Moonsilver. The next one we have is Bygone Bishop. He's 2 and a white for a 2/3 flyer, so already we're beating out Apothecary Geist. And whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, you investigate.
And he's rare.
And he's rare. So here we don't see that tax on investigating because you're already playing the thing.
It's true.
It comes with a reasonable body at that price. I mean, it's already better than Windrake, and I liked Windrake. But again, the clues aren't free to sacrifice.
No, you could end up with a pile of clue tokens,
and have your face smashed in.
Yeah, they don't advance your strategy by themselves immediately.
Right, and I don't know that just again on the vanilla test is a 2/3 flyer for a 2/3 flyer for 3 is good, but I mean I'm not going to be first picking this guy. At least not out of the gates.
No, he's not going to be my pack 1 pick. But if I'm in white and it's later in the draft, I will pick him up.
Would you go white for him?
Probably not.
You pick a worse on-color card?
I might. Yeah. I tend in a draft, it might not be the best strategy, but I pick... Usually my cards are over 3 converted mana cost. I feel like. I always end up with
the like late game heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a role player, he seems good. Like if he were an uncommon, I have no problems giving him a pretty good grade. But as a rare, it's just like he's not the power level that you expected. A rare isn't there. So I mean, I think he's like a B minus C plus. He's good. You're gonna play him if you're in white, but you're playing him.
Not to.
Yeah, you're playing him because he's a 2/3 flyer for 3. Not
with
really.
Yeah, he's got an upside, but it's not huge. So.
Right. Okay. Let's keep on moving. We have Cathar's Companion, which is 2 and a white for a hound creature at common. It is a 3/1, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gains indestructible until end of turn.
Yes, please.
You're high on this guy, huh?
I do. A 3/1 in limited is big, and a 3/1 in limited that's indestructible is better.
The indestructibility is super, super nice. I like 3/1s to cost 2, like Blade of the Sixth Pride, but they block. I feel 3/1's so deceptive because they block so well. I feel like I'm almost more inclined to block with the 3/1 than I am to attack with it. But I mean, once you play him on turn 3 and you untap with cards in hand, he seems like a pretty nasty thing to try and get through with your opponent, because just that threat of activation is quite real.
And even as a blocker, nothing's saying you can't play a combat trick and turn them indestructible.
Oh yeah,
on your opponent's turn.
I think this little guy is going to lead to some unfortunate combat ends for players on the other side of him.
Yes, I agree. He's definitely a top pick. I don't know if he's a first pick, but he's up there.
He's definitely a role player. You don't really even have to build around him, because you're going to have non-creature spells, and hopefully some of them are instants. and so I think he's pretty good. Like, if you're in white, you're almost always playing this guy. So I'll give him a B.
Yeah, I'll go B+.
B+ for Cathar's Companion. All right, what's next?
So we have Chaplain's Blessing. It is 1 white sorcery to gain 5 life.
At common.
At common. Yeah, it's what it does.
Compared to something like Feed the Clan from Khan's block.
Yeah. Even if you're going life gain, you have like Harsh Sustenance in Khans that deals damage.
But do you think, like, as a sideboard card, like in Constructed, is I mean, that's pretty efficient.
5 life for 1 white is pretty good.
It's not instant. It can't save you from a burn spell.
No, I don't think for Constructed, no, it's not going to see play. In Limited, it's probably also going to see very little play.
I could see playing it as like a 40th card if you've got like 3 Cathar's Companions. and you're just looking for cheap ways to cast non-creatures.
Yeah. I don't know.
It seems like a real salt, like a D-. I mean, you're not gonna it's not gonna exceed expectations anywhere.
No, it does what it says it does. It could save your life. It could not matter.
Yep. All right, what's next?
Right, so we have Dauntless Cathar. It is 2 and a white for a human soldier at common. 3/2 with 1 and a white. Exile Dauntless Cathar from your graveyard, and you get a spirit token, but only at sorcery speed.
And the spirit token flies.
The spirit token does fly. Hooray!
But I feel like, and this may just be a shift in general for Magic lately, but we've been getting a lot more power at 3 mana in non-green that I'm used to. Like I guess I still kind of like, whoa, the 3/2 at 3. That seems pretty good. The one from Oath, the 3/2 that could gain flying, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think this guy's pretty good too, because he 3 power and 2 toughness is a pretty solid body.
Mm-hmm.
And having a relevant ability after it's died is good.
Now, I think it's interesting that it can only be a sorcery, and I don't think it's a power concern thing. I think it's a new player concession so that you don't accidentally turn off Delirium.
That could be the case, yeah. It keeps you from casting a Delirium spell, and in response, removing this guy from your graveyard, and oops, no more Delirium.
Right.
And 1 in the white for a 1/1 flyer. As a blocker, to if this guy had instant speed, to be able to essentially flash in a 1/1 blocker, isn't more than what 1 in the white would give you.
No, and it's just kind of gravy. I mean, it's kind of a weird card to me, because its body and its effect are kind of dissonant, and it's a 3/2. You want to turn it sideways, it's probably gonna get blocked and kill something, and then die. And then it's just going to hang out in your graveyard a lot of the times, and I feel like it's really just going to get forgotten because it's such a minor effect.
I've been guilty of doing that before, where I've had abilities like this sitting in my graveyard and just totally forgot about them.
Right, and it's a limited card. Obviously, we're not going to be playing this in a 60 card format. I mean, it's a good card. I'd give it a C-.
Yeah, it's a solid C. All
right, so next we come up to a contentious card, I feel like, amongst some circles. We have Declaration in Stone, which is a rare sorcery for 1 and a white, and it exiles target creature and all other creatures its controller controls with the same name. That player investigates for each non-token creature exiled this way. So you're pretty much you're killing your opponent's best dude, and then you're giving them like, oh, hey, I feel bad for you, so here, I'll let you draw a card for 2 mana.
I don't know. I think the card in the limited, you're probably going to pass it.
Really?
It's like in your first pack or something. Unless you're already established in white, I would probably pass it.
Oh, I would first pick Declaration in Stone. First,
really?
Like pack 1, pick 1, I would totally do it. I really value removal. That's cheap, unconditional removal, and that it doesn't say that controller draws a card. It says they have to pay 2 to do it.
It's true.
And if you come up against the jerk at the other side of the table who has 3 Cathar's companions, yeah, you can have 3 clues. I'm going to get rid of 3 of the most annoying things on your board.
Yeah. As far as cost and everything, I think it's a fair 1 in the white for a sorcery exile spell isn't just terrible.
It almost seems too cheap. Like we're so inoculated to this new world crappy removal at sorcery speed that it is kind of jarring. I was like, oh, well, that's just 2 mana to exile creature. Like, I'll do that. Yes, please. But that being said, it isn't a great top deck. Like you don't want to use it on non-bombs because you don't want to draw them to their bomb.
Although I do like that the investigate clause does say non-token. So if you get put a face to face with that guy who drafted every spirit in the set, you can totally exile all their spirit tokens for 1 in the white with no repercussions.
And that is pretty powerful of an effect. And I'll give it a B+. It can pull you back when you're behind, but in a late game when you do it to their bomb and they can just like, okay, whatever, and immediately draw a card off of it, that's getting into drawback territory for sure.
Yeah, let's say B+. Yeah.
Alrighty. Alright, now we have our first mythic. What do we have here?
We have Descent Upon the Sinful. It is 4 and 2 white sorcery to exile all creatures, and it has Delirium. So if you have 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, you get a 4/4 angel token with flying.
I hate this card.
It is Final Judgment with Delirium. Same mana cost, same speed. It's a strictly better Final Judgment.
Yeah, except Final Judgment wasn't mythic.
There weren't mythics back then.
That's probably my biggest complaint about this card is that why is this mythic?
I agree. Putting this at mythic over rare doesn't really change limited much.
I guess it's been a while since we've had. We don't get 4 mana wraths anymore, but Planar Outburst was a rare in battle and didn't warp the format. I don't remember a time where having a wrath at rare destroyed a format. So I really just don't know why this makes it limited.
I'm not sure either. Because it's a good card, but it's not game breaking.
And maybe it's because like in Constructed, it's never going to see play anyway. At 6 mana,
I bet it sees a little bit.
I don't know. I think Planar Outburst is just going to be better in almost all cases. Unless there's some significant, like the exile, maybe if ramp.
So with exile, you do catch Ulamog and Worldbreaker.
Oop, yeah, that is true.
You get both of those. Like, you get around indestructibility, and you get around being able to return it from the graveyard.
And you probably get an angel.
And yeah, you will probably, at that point in the game, you will get an angel. So I think that's relevant, but no one's going to be playing 4 copies of this in a deck.
No, it's not going to be like End Hostilities where you just jam 4 of them into a deck and move on with your life.
Yeah.
Um,
But I don't know. For limited, I give it a C.
so you would not first pick Descent Upon Sinful.
Nope, I'm not a first pick removal kind of guy. I first pick my bombs.
Oh, it is a bomb. It's a win con and a board wipe.
Ah, I don't see it as such.
Um, okay, so we're probably gonna differ pretty wildly. I'm gonna give Descend Upon the Sinful an A minus. I think it definitely has that power. I mean, it resets the board and puts you ahead if you have Delirium.
All right.
There are situations where this will be the only card in your deck that can save you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you give it?
I'd still gotta get a C plus.
Ah, you're killing me. All right. Next,
We
what?
have your card that you wanted.
Yes, we have my Blade of the Sixth Pride. I mean, Devilthorn Fox. It's 1 and a white for a 3/1 at common.
And we
That's
get
all.
another fox.
Yeah, we do.
I think it's like number like 6 or something.
There's another creature type that makes. I guess it's a return in this set. We'll get to it when we get
I
to
think
green.
I know which one you're talking about, and I believe it is a new creature type. But yeah.
So okay, Devilthorn Fox. I mean, if you're in white, are you scooping up as many of these that you see?
Yeah, I'm picking every single one.
You could run this in the Cathar's Companion and just have 3/1 dot deck.
Yeah, and you would probably win with it.
I mean, I think it's pretty telling that we have. I mean, we have this Cathar's Companion and Dauntless Cathar all at common and all at 3 power for 3 or less mana.
Yeah, that may be telling of the speed of the format, at least for white.
Yeah, because that's it. That's pretty aggressive. That's putting you on a real aggressive bend.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I think he's like a C plus. I mean, you're not going to go white for him, and if you're playing white, you're playing him.
Yeah, I give him a B minus.
B minus. All right. Next,
So
we have. Go ahead.
So we have Drog Skull. I believe I'm pronouncing that right.
That's how I would say it.
Cavalry is 5, 2 white for a 4/4 flying. When another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. And for 3 and a white, you get a spirit token with flying.
Hey, let's just staple effects. Let's just staple effects onto an under or overcosted body and put it in an intro pack.
I believe you're correct. He is the face card of one of the intro packs, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
I won't be buying that one.
At this
a 4/4 flying in limited is pretty good. Incremental life gain's all right, and even if it's kind of overcosted, the ability to produce blockers at instant speed is pretty good.
But
7 mana for a
I'd
4/4.
be pretty sad if I'm first picking this guy.
Yeah.
I want to believe that 4/4 is big enough, but I just don't know if paying 4 to get a 1/1 and gain 2 life is going to be enough. I mean, obviously there are going to be games where that's what does it, is just that incremental token and life advantage. But I mean, I guess if you play him and then hit your next land, you've got the threat of activation of 2 power in the air and 4 life.
Yeah. I think if the opponent doesn't remove him, he'll get out of hand.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a problem.
If he's given time to, though, because you can't play him before turn 7 without mana rocks or ramp.
Yes. Yeah.
And at that point in the game, I don't know if a 4/4 is going to do it for you.
That's where I'm at on this guy, because this reminds me very much of that stupid vampire from BFZ, the 4/5 for 7. You know the one.
Oh, the one that has like a Sanguine Bond ability.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just
that's not what I want in my limited packs as my rare.
No.
I mean, if I'm in white, I'll probably scoop this guy up, but I'm definitely not gonna go white for this guy.
No, and I think if you're in white and the player to your right or left isn't, there's a decent chance that they're going to pass them to you anyway.
Yeah, but do you see it as a roadmap? Because given that this card might be something that only somebody who's real white oriented is going to pick, do you take it as a sign that white is open if you see one of these 3rd or 4th in a pack?
Uh,
Like
yeah,
pack 2 or pack 3? Does that tell you white is open?
I bet it does. Or it tells you there are some other really good white cards in that pack, like
Yeah.
Devilthorn Fox or Cathar's Companions.
So you would go Devilthorn Fox over Drogskull Cavalry. You
Uh, if I'm not heavily entrenched in white, then yeah.
would you go your second Devilthorn Fox over Drogskull Cavalry?
Hmm. It would depend on what else I've picked throughout the draft.
Not willing to commit on that one.
No,
I mean, I'll give him a B minus, C
yeah,
plus.
I think B minus is where he's at.
All right. Um, we have next. We have a rare instant called Eerie Interlude. It is 2 and a white, and it lets you exile any number of target creatures you control, and then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So we have a mass momentary blink. Well, no, it's not momentary blink. It's a mass slow blink.
Yeah, because they don't come back till the end step.
Right.
But for 2 and a white, this will save you from a board wipe. It'll save you from your own board wipe if you've got that much mana open.
Had it will.
You could, if they're swinging in with a bunch of fatties without trample, you could declare blockers, blink all your dudes, and not have to care about all your board dying.
Now, we haven't seen, up to this point, we haven't seen too many enters the battlefield triggers.
No, but if we have them, it's great.
Yeah, because that's where I'm looking to abuse an effect like this, is when you've got a bunch of enters the battlefield abilities that you can just spam. Like if you are in the crazy world where you have a Drogskull Cavalry, a bunch of spirits, and then you Eerie Interlude, you get to that's pretty good. That's Eerie Interlude gain a lot of life.
It's true. I don't think it's a first pick,
No.
but I don't think you pass it up later in the draft.
Are you willing to take it over like removal or a solid role player creature?
If I already have a creature that's a bomb or two, and I already have a couple of removal spells, then I probably would.
All right.
But I think if I have no removal whatsoever, this doesn't fill that spot.
Right. How many enters the battlefield dudes do you need to have before you kind of start hoping you open one of these? And assuming you're in color.
4 or 5 probably.
Yeah, I think that's about
You
right.
need a decent deck saturation for it to even really matter of hoping to get more than maybe one enter the battlefield trigger off this.
Right. So I'm gonna, like, for limited purposes, I think it's like a D. I'm not so, like, 3 mana is a lot to ask for a combat trick, which is usually what it's going to come down to.
I give it D plus.
D plus for Eerie Interlude. What do we have next?
We have Emissary of the Sleepless. It's 4 and a white common. It's a 2/4 flying, and whenever it enters the battlefield,
There
if
it
a
is.
creature died this turn, you get a 1/1 spirit with flying. Creature had to have died this turn.
So it's a throwback to Morbid, I guess.
Yeah, mechanic from original Innistrad that activated on creature death.
Was that? Yeah, it was a limited. Yeah, or it was original Innistrad. That's a 2/4 body for 5 that flies.
It's a decent blocker. 2/4 is a pretty good body for a flyer or for a blocker.
And
It's something you play post combat.
yeah, and it blocks the Cathar's Companion and the Devilthorn Fox and that Dauntless Cathar. It blocks all of those and lives.
Yeah. I take it. 5 mana is kind of a lot, but at common, can't really ask for much.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about how many 5-drops you get, but I think as like 5-drop number 1, if you don't have a rare in that slot, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it goes, especially if you're playing sort of the sit-back type deck, I think this card goes a long way towards stabilizing you.
Oh yeah, definitely does.
So I'll give Emissary a Sleepless, like a C plus if you're in that sit-back deck, or like a D if you're in a more aggressive deck.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next we have Ethereal Guidance, which is a common sorcery, 2 and a white. For creatures you control, get +2/+1 until end of turn.
I would like it if it was an instant.
Oh, wouldn't we all? So compared to, say, like Kytheon's Tactics from Origins, which was +2/+1 and Vigilance if you had Spell Mastery, I believe.
Something like that.
Like I don't. These sorts of spells always bugged me in white. They don't feel white to me.
No, I think mass creature buff almost feels more green.
But in this case, this feels red. Like, I could totally see this being a four cost red spell at sorcery. White is about these big toughness creatures to me, and the one toughness just doesn't do it. But you're right. If it were +2/+2, it'd be green. It would be a green spell.
Oh yeah.
So I don't like that. Oh, because it can't be green. It's not symmetrical. Let's just take a point off the power, and then or off the toughness, and then it's like, well, there you have white's common dumb pump your dudes spell.
Yeah, it's a late round pick. If there's no other white cards in your pack, it's what you take.
I feel like I'm gonna be sad if I'm playing this in my white deck and I'm not running like 6 Devilthorn Foxes.
Yeah.
Like D-.
Yeah. Not quite enough, but it's close.
All right, what do we have next?
We have Expose Evil, 1 in a white common instant to tap 2 creatures and investigate.
Ugh.
Yeah. it just another one of those cards that does what it says. I
wanted this card to be what was the white one from Innistrad? Feeling of Dread. That it cost this to do it, and then you could flash it back for blue and 2.
Oh, yeah.
I get excited. I see this card. I'm like, ooh, tap up to 2 card creatures. Oh, and there's more on this card that's not flavor text. That's awesome. Oh, it's Investigate.
I think the card's actually pretty decent and limited. 2 mana to tap 2 creatures at instant speed is good. That's tapping down 2 blockers and getting damage through, or that's tapping down 2 beefy creatures and not having to worry about blocking them.
But it doesn't freeze them. It's not a blue.
No, well, because it's in white. White doesn't do that.
I don't know. I'm not super high on this card. I definitely see its value, but it needs a specific type of deck, because to me this card is at its best when you're doing it aggressively to clear blockers.
Yeah.
And not really to save yourself from an attacker.
I agree. And the Investigate's just an add-on. They tacked it on.
Right. Now, and again, we don't seem to be paying for the Investigate here.
No, we actually don't. But like I said, you have to pay 2 mana to sacrifice the clue anyway.
Right. But like if you're in this hypothetical 6 Devilthorn Fox deck, it would keep coming back to it, so I'm gonna try my best to make it a thing at least once. It seems pretty good. If you clear the way, like, you're paying 2 mana, make sure they don't eat your fox, and you're probably gonna punch them for 6 with your foxes. So that seems like if you're in that real white or real aggressive white deck, this could be a pretty good card. Yeah. But otherwise, it seems like it's going to be a miss. So I'm just going to go D on Expose Evil. If you're there and you want it, it's there for you.
I say C-. Because I think even in like a slower, not quite as aggressive deck, it's a good way to slow down the opponent for a turn.
Yeah. And it kind of replaces itself. Huh?
Yeah, almost. Almost.
But would it really change the evaluation of the card if it just said tap up to 2 target creatures, draw a card? I don't think it would really change it.
It would be more expensive. It wouldn't be 1 in the white, and it probably also wouldn't be an instant. So
because WotC.
Yeah.
All right. So Expose Evil gets a D from me and a C-.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Griff's Boon, which, if you are a fan of Red vs. Blue, would probably not do anything that this card says. Anyway, it is 1 white for an Aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and flying. And for 3 and a white, you may return it from your graveyard to the battlefield, attached to target creature as a sorcery.
I'm a fan of crazy swan horses, so
So you like the Griffs.
I like the Griffs.
I actually really like this card.
I do too. 1 white for +1/+0 and flying is great. Early game, it gets your little dude to fly over blockers. Late game, it gets your beefy dude to fly over blockers.
I'm gonna keep beating this dead fox and just say that you put this in that deck and suddenly you have a 4/1 flying fox.
Yeah. And being able to return it from your graveyard, even though it is sorcery speed and kind of expensive, if you have nothing else to do on that turn, that is a great play.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't cost you a card. It could conceivably damage your Delirium, but so far we've only seen 2 white cards, and one was rare and one was mythic.
Let me scroll back real quick. We have Descend Upon the Sinful and
the Angel of Deliverance.
the Angel of Deliverance. Those
So
are
white,
only 2 white Deliriums.
Yeah, white's not really all in on that right yet.
No, and we actually haven't even seen a Madness yet for white.
No,
But
I don't know if there
flavorfully,
are.
I don't think it has any.
Well, I don't know. The Angels are going crazy.
That's true.
But so I mean, for Griff's Boon, I'm I think I'm higher on this card than I would be in other sets. Like, but it seems like a B minus C plus to me.
Yeah, I agree. I played whatever in Oath the flying enchant was, like Gift of Wings or something. That was like +1/+1 and flying.
Oh.
I played that in like every white deck I drafted.
I'm really glad you didn't say like Blessings of Iona, because then we'd have to like get in a fight because that card's awful. But okay, so that's Griff's Boon. What do we have next?
We have Hope Against Hope. It is 2 and a white, another enchantment aura, at uncommon, enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, and as long as you control the enchanted creature is human, it also gets first strike. Yay.
Yeah, that now we found the chaff aura. This one's uncommon, and I mean it's conceivably a big buff.
Yeah. For 2 and a white, I would have liked it to give every creature first strike, not just humans.
Yeah, that would have probably been pretty interesting, and I think you could sell that flavor wise. But or maybe if the enchanted creature is legendary, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. But I think you're really only gonna be gaining value off this card in a hypothetical like spirit deck where you're producing those tokens.
Right.
And then like the one human you got in your deck, you drop this on while you got 6 or 7 spirits on the battlefield, and all of a sudden it's a big threat.
So removal, like impending removal notwithstanding, how big of a buff do you want out of this card to like, how many dudes on the board do you need to like want to play this card?
Probably 3. I wanted to at least give a +3/+3.
And that's where I am too. So you need the creature itself and 2 other dudes, which may or may not be doable, depending on how much removal's floating around. But in a stalled board, this seems like this could break a stall pretty easily.
Yeah. And the first strike could be very relevant.
Yeah. But I get it's an aura, so it's getting knocked there. It's a 3-cost aura, and it doesn't have flash. So I'm gonna give Hope Against Hope a D minus. Just if it's there, you're gonna if you want that effect, you can probably do it better somewhere else.
Yeah, I give it a D.
All right. Next we have an uncommon instant called Humble the Brute. Sorry, I forgot how words worked. It costs 4 and a white to destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, and then investigate.
Why couldn't it have just been Smite the Monstrous?
Because Smite the Monstrous has been in every set since Fate or something like that. Like it was definitely in Dragons or Fate.
Yeah.
And then it was also in Battle.
Yeah. But I would rather play Smite the Monstrous over this.
Smite the Monstrous originally debuted in Innistrad block.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I'm not super high on this. if your opponent is playing planes, I don't know that you're going to have a target for this card. Like
So far, yeah. With barring like
a
moving
rare or
instant.
mythic, yeah.
Uh,
I don't. I'm not big on this.
no, 5 mana to destroy what could be a bomb. Uh,
I mean,
it's removal and
it,
limited, so it's gonna be good. People are gonna play it, and it's gonna destroy stuff. But
you're not going to want like two of it.
no, you saturate your deck with this card, and all of a sudden you're drawing them and not
do,
being able to cast
do,
them.
from what we've seen so far, obviously, like, I'm not going to be main decking this, but maybe once we get to red and green. But as of right now, I would not even be main decking this card.
No, it's probably if I lose or barely win game one to some fatty, then this comes in.
Now, if you see white from your opponent, are you going to be thinking about this card if you've got some big guys?
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch out for, probably.
Yeah, I think it will be a gotcha card. So Smite the Monsters costs 4. So
Yes.
for an extra colorless, we get the Investigate. At
Yeah,
a time when you will probably be able to use that clue next turn, whenever your next untap is. You'll probably be
uh,
able to use that if you need it.
it's true.
So
But yeah, investigate's just one of those keywords that I'm meh on it.
yeah,
It's usually icing on the cake for whatever you don't play the card because it investigates. If you play a card and it investigates, that's just something extra.
right. So Humble the Brute, yeah, D plus.
Yeah, D plus C minus. It's not great. It's not bad. It's what it is.
All right, tell me about the Inquisitor's Ox.
So Inquisitor's Ox, it's 3 and a white for a 2/5 common with Delirium. So as long as you have 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Inquisitor's Ox gets +1/+0 in Vigilance. So turn 4, theoretically, you could have a 3/5 with Vigilance.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
not bad.
So this is an aside. There's nothing to do about the Ox, but are we gonna go with? Do you have delirium or are you delirious?
Do you have Delirium?
Oh, I want to be delirious.
You, you can be delirious.
Okay, back to the Ox. Here again with it's another common. So there seems to be like this shift in white. Like if you're paying 3 or less mana for your creature, you're getting a high-powered creature.
With low toughness.
With low toughness. Now, once you cross over into 4, you're getting the low power, high toughness guy.
Yeah. But I don't know. As far as the card goes, I don't want to play it unless I have Delirium. Uh,
I
I
don't
think
know because I've played Pillarfield Ox. I mean, I've played like the 1/5s and the 2/4s, and sometimes they're what you want.
yeah, but I think Vigilance is just so big on this guy because of his high toughness. So
Yeah.
you can swing in for 3. Probably they
And-
probably block him. It
Yep.
kills whatever blocked him. He doesn't die, and then on your turn you have a 5 toughness blocker.
Yeah, he seems pretty. I mean, good for a common.
Yeah.
I just you don't want him in your in your aggressive decks. You don't want this effect because you want to be maybe dropping 2 more dudes onto the board at 4 mana.
Yeah, at 4 mana you're gonna want to be pushed in the board state, not playing this Ox.
Yeah. So Inquisitor's Ox,
C
D plus, whatever.
plus.
I do like the flavor that he's just towing around guillotines. That makes me happy. And that, they painted this symbol on him and suddenly it just goes mad with power and starts like trying to guillotine other people. I don't know. It's just that makes me smile. But next we have Inspiring Captain. Is 3 and a white, and he is a 3/3 human knight at common. And when he comes into play, your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. He does not have flash.
I almost feel like there's better things you could play at 4 mana. He's not bad, but unless you've been playing 1 or 2 creatures a turn since the start of the game and they are still alive, he's not going to impact the board much.
This is the guy. This is what in my aggressive deck I want to play on turn 4, though.
In the theoretical 6 Foxes
Yes.
deck, if you play turn 1,
Like
nothing.
something.
Yeah, turn 2, Fox. Turn 3, Fox. And then turn 4, this guy. You're probably setting pretty good.
I mean, Amperin Tactician from Origins turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah,
He was double white and 2 for a 2/2 that did this.
it's true.
The human part is mildly relevant because like he can turn on like your hope against hope.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. I think he's like a C minus. I think he's pretty good in that aggressive white deck. I think he's a decent. Like you're not gonna be doing anything else at turn 4. You might as well cast that guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. What do we have next?
We have Militant Inquisitor, 2 and a white for a 2/3 that it gets +1/+0 for each equipment you control at common.
Heyo, here's this equipment theme that everybody seems to love. It's all the rage in limited decks nowadays.
Yeah, it's part of white's color pie now, I believe. It's something we get now with white.
But is that something like? I mean, this is. Oh no, it's not quite weapons trainer, and we're getting a 2/3 for 3, so it shoots my theory down about stuff having higher power than toughness at under 3 costs. But it could. Like how many equipments are you wanting before this thing is good? Like I'm wanting if I'm paying this
probably 2
on the board.
Yeah,
Like,
on the board. It's nice that they don't have to be equipped to Helm.
Yes, that is nice. It lets you spread the power.
Yeah, but I don't think this guy does much in your deck unless you've drafted several equipments already.
No, the 2/3 on the ground doesn't seem that good here. And normally, like there are some times when that 3 power is great or the 3 toughness is great, but here he's dying to a delirious Inquisitor's Ox.
He is.
He's dying to an inspiring captain. He's dying to the Fox and the Mastiff and the Cathar. So that's that 2/3 thing isn't as good as it was in like battle. In battle, there were tons of 2/3s. They were just bouncing off of each other over and over and over again. But I don't think this guy's gonna be hanging around all that often. You're gonna play him and just be kind of like meh.
Yeah, I agree.
So like D minus.
Easily. Yeah.
What do we? Yeah, go ahead. What do we have next?
Right. We have Moorland Drifter. It is 1 in the white common for a 2/2 that Delirium. So as long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, has flying.
All right.
I like it, but I want to play it once I have Delirium, which is probably not turn 2.
I would just want to play my Delir Bear. I actually think that he's best on turn 2 because
Really?
That's fine. A 2/2 for 2 is on.
He is a bear.
It's a bear.
That might have flying eventually.
Exactly, and I mean you're right. You're probably not going to have Delirium on turn 3, but you know this. It's a spirit for decks that care about that, and it'll probably fly late game. So it's not terrible late game, and then that's a real kind of pass fail for me for 2-drops. Is if I draw this turn 8, am I going to be sad? You know, probably, but at least it flies. It'll save me from that angel that's trying to kill me.
That's true.
So it's like a C, Moorland Drifter.
Yeah, it's like a C plus.
Yeah. All right. Next we have Nahiri's Machinations, which is 1 in a white for an uncommon enchantment. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. And then for 1 in a red, you can pay to have Nahiri's Machinations deal 1 damage to target blocking creature.
It's just if I'm playing white, I'm probably drafting this just for the indestructibility.
Yes, I don't think it definitely doesn't on its own push you into red white.
No, if you have red, it's a pretty 1 in a red to deal 1 damage to a blocking creature is pretty good.
Yeah.
It keeps the opponent from just going, oh, chump blocks all day kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's actually I feel like that's a pretty good cost that could easily have been red white or whatever. It's I think it's costed well given the fact that the card itself casts or costs white. You know that it feels very red white.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think you're sad to draft this, and I don't think you're sad to see it, like to draw it in the draft either. Because indestructibility is pretty good.
And you can play it pre-combat and get the effect out of it too.
That is true.
It seems pretty good. I don't know if I'm taking it over a fox or
Depends on how many foxes you already have. But I don't think you're taking multiples of them.
No, but if I have a lot of foxes, I'm going to be looking for this card.
Yeah, being able to give one of them indestructible each turn is not bad.
So I mean, I'll give it a B minus because it kind of is a do nothing. Like if you play it on an empty board, it doesn't really do much to you, and you can't even use its activated to pick off things that are attacking you. So it definitely requires some investment, and you do have to build to it. But I think if in the deck that's right for it, it's pretty good.
I agree. C plus.
Okay.
At the highest end.
Yeah. All right. What do we have next?
We have Near Heath Chaplain. It's 4 and a white, uncommon for a 3/1 with lifelink. For 2 and a white, you exile Near Heath Chaplain from your graveyard and get 2 spirits. But again, as a sorcery.
Right.
They're liking that sorcery clause.
Well, this. I think it's kind of a vertical cycle of, or at least from common to uncommon. You have this guy and the Dauntless Cathar. They both exile from the graveyard to do a minor effect. 3/1 with lifelink at 4. Where do we stand on that?
Leaning toward liking it more than not.
I'm not. So this is where This is where I'd be off the 3/1 train. Is at 4 mana.
I think the lifelink is what makes him good. He's not an attacker. I think you leave him back as a blocker, hoping he dies, gains you 3 life, and then next turn you make 2 spirits.
Yeah, that is true. That at least like you're not sad when he dies because he will die. You just hope that he got to mix it up in combat and kill something and gain you some life.
Yeah, you hope your opponent doesn't have an Nahiri's Machination to ping him for combat damage.
Oh gosh, that'd be awful.
But if that's the case, you're probably not blocking with him anyway because you'd expect it. But
yeah,
yeah,
he's. I want to be low on this guy, but I feel like that's not fair to him. I feel like it is a powerful card. It's a good uncommon. So I'll go like B minus, C plus on this guy. I'm still just not sold.
A B.
B? Alright.
Straight B.
What does Not Forgotten do?
So we have a 1 and a white sorcery at uncommon to put target creature from a graveyard on the top or bottom of its owner's library and make a spirit. I like it.
You do?
I do. I think you're going to use it on yourself, not on an opponent.
Yeah, it's almost like a regrow effect.
Yeah, for 1 in the white, you get your best card that they've removed back from your graveyard. You drop it on top, and you make a spirit. Barring the opponent having like target player mills 1 card, it's fine. I think 1 in the white to get a card back from your graveyard, even if it is essentially guaranteeing what you're going to draw next turn.
Yeah, but it does seem pretty good. And it doesn't have to be you either. You could grab something out of their graveyard and put it on bottom.
So you can totally use it on your opponent to disable Delirium. You can turn off Delirium for your opponent.
Once again, at sorcery speed. But yes.
I think that's all we're going to get for turning off Delirium. At least at common and uncommon. I think it's only going to be sorcery speed abilities.
But are we main decking this card?
I would probably main deck 1.
I don't know that I would main deck this card. I think in a grindy matchup, this card is kind of similar to Pulse of Marasa from Oath. It doesn't gain you life, but it gets you a dude instead, and it kind of draws you a card. It draws you like half a card. Yeah. So it's good, but that's not like it's not what I want to do turn 2. I don't want to just make a 1/1 flyer, and
it's like a turn 5, turn 6 after they've Doomblade did your blocker or whatever,
But
or
I don't
your
even.
bomb.
I don't want to like top deck this because it doesn't draw me a card. Like this is something like it's an interesting effect, and I think I definitely bring it in against a slow deck. But I don't think I'm main decking this.
Okay,
So I'm gonna go like D on Not Forgotten.
I say a C.
C. Alrighty. What does Audric Lunarch Marshall do?
So we have a 3 and a white for a 3/3 rare legendary creature, with a block of text.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, go ahead, read it.
okay, so at the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn. If a creature you control has first strike, the same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, trample, and vigilance.
I feel like they should just put every creature, but like I want Shroud to be on that text blocks.
Well, considering we don't get Shroud anymore, everything
Yeah,
has
but I don't care. I want Shroud to be there.
What I find interesting is that those are all evergreen words, text keywords, except for Skulk, which may mean Skulk is now evergreen. I don't know if there's word on that or not.
I think it is. It's just a keywording of an effect that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I think that is a new keyword, and I do believe I actually remember them trying to sell me on it in the mechanics article, but it's like, no, that's just keywording something that existed already, Wizards. It doesn't count.
Well, and it simplifies the amount of text on cards when they do that, except when they just put the reminder text on there anyway. But
this is, I think, candidate for most boring card in the set.
yeah, he's actually, I can't think of the card off the top of my head, but there's an old enchantment with the exact same ability. And I can't for the life of me remember what it is.
He had a Crusader in one of the M sets, like M14 or so.
Yeah.
But I just really dislike this card from a flavor standpoint and a design standpoint.
From just straight up reading the card, he seems pretty powerful, but I don't think you get the value out of him that you'd expect.
I don't think you do if you're in, like, say, white or green, but I think if you're in, like, white and black or white and red, if you can get, like, double strike, then that's like GG there.
Yeah.
Because he does not have to attack.
No, that's probably the best part about his ability is you don't have to throw him out there to die. Because if he's attacking, your opponent's going to block and try to kill him.
Yes. So I mean, he's good. Good card is good, but that's not.
No.
It's not exciting. I'd probably still first pick him because, especially like first picking, you can go out of your way to collect the keywords.
You can, but I think late in the draft, if you don't have those keywords in your pool already, he's less valuable.
Even if you're in white on like pack 3.
But yeah, because 4 mana for a 3/3, if you don't have those keywords to hand out, is just mediocre.
And again, you do at least get the benefit of him right then on turn 4.
You do. I give him a B.
I wonder how they decided why first strike first. Because it's first, like I
don't know.
It's not by alphabetical order, like.
No, I have no idea. Maybe it's a simple, like, as a new player goes, first strike is one of those keywords that makes sense. Like, you can read first strike and pretty much know what it does.
It's alphabetical, except for flying and first strike.
They are out of order, aren't they? Weird.
Anyway, yeah, I think like pack 1, pick 1. I think he's like an A-, but other than that, I think he drops to like B- or B pretty quickly.
Yeah, if you don't have the support for him, he doesn't do much for you.
Alrighty, so we'll move on to Open the Armory, which is a cool sounding card. It is 1 and a white for an uncommon sorcery to search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library.
Yay, more equipment synergy, but we don't know how much equipment there is in the set, really.
Or if it's like stuff that you want to go get. Even if it's there, you may not want to go get it.
A little off note from what we've been talking about so far, but as far as this card goes, in EDH, I'm going to play it in one of my decks.
Yeah,
But
it seems like that's really what it's for. It's an EDH plant.
uh, but one in the white sorcery to tutor an aura or equipment, not bad.
No, and I mean it can get an aura too. If you have that hope against hope, you can open the armory for hope against hope and go get it. And
Yeah, or even if you need it, you can get what was it called? The
Griff's
Bonded by
Boom.
Moonsilver,
Or
and
yeah, you could get that too and get your
and
removal.
lock down a creature. Yeah.
Well,
Tutors are historically pretty good. Tutors at 2 mana are better, but I
uh,
don't know how much you're actually going to need that aura or equipment.
right. So it's interesting, but ultimately like D minus for limited sake.
Yeah.
What does Paranoid Parish Blade do?
So we have a 2 and a white for a 3/2 uncommon with Delirium. So as long as you meet those requirements, you get +1/+0 and first strike. So you have a 4/2 with first strike for 3 mana, but probably not on turn 3.
I like him.
I do too. A 4/2 with first strike is great.
I like this like goober face that he's making at me too. It's yeah, like
Uh,
he's got goober face and tentacle arm. Like, come
he
on.
does have a tentacle coming out of that sleeve. He does not look happy about it.
And he's gonna like poke you because he's angry about it. So I don't know. I like this. I think it definitely feels almost pushed at 3 mana. Like
Yeah.
when you've got your delirium, the 4/2 with first strike's pretty scary.
I'm picking him. Like he might not be a pack one pick one, but if I'm in white and he comes around to me,
Yeah, you're gonna slam
I'm
him.
taking him.
Yeah. I think so too. I think he's like a B minus C plus.
Yeah, I think he's a solid B.
Alrighty, moving on to puncturing light. What does that do?
So we have 1 in the white for a common. It is instant and destroys target attacking or blocking creature with power 3 or less. We've seen cards like this before, and historically they're pretty good.
Well, searing light was pretty bad in Oath.
That was with all those Eldrazi running around where
Yeah, and so
Didn't
so
care.
does the extra? It costs 2 instead of 1, and it hits power 3 or less. We've seen a lot of those in white so far.
yeah,
That
Uh,
picks off a lot of things.
it does. I don't know how much the other sets have those power 3 or less creatures.
I think 3 is a much better number for it to have on there than 2.
Yes, 2 just cuts off so much of the things it can hit. But Wizards likes the number 3.
And
Uh,
this card, like, it's 2 mana is still like it's pretty easy to hold 2 mana up. Like, you're not telegraphing a puncturing light, I think,
No,
by leaving up 2 mana. So I mean, it seems like pretty good removal for limited. I think go C plus on puncturing light.
yeah, I agree.
All right. Next we have Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, which is 3 and 2 white for a 3/3 angel at uncommon. She flies, and if you are delirious, because that's what I'm going to say, you may sacrifice another creature to give her +2/+1 until end of turn, and that's about it. So she is fallen angel in white.
Yeah, I feel like her delirium ability is almost counterproductive because the sack a creature to give a buff is almost like a delirium enabler, but you
It-
can't do it until you have delirium.
Yeah, that's kind of a gotcha moment there, or what do they call it, a nombo?
Yeah, where it's like, well, this would really help. This helps me get to if you're setting at 3 cards in your graveyard and you have say an instant, a sorcery, and an enchantment. This
You-
card does not help you get delirium.
No, it does not, but it
then
wants
once
you to have it.
But wants you to have it, and then once you have it, you're allowed to sack creatures, which will have helped you get it. But it's I don't know.
I think this is kind of pretty good at uncommon. I
Yeah,
think this is a dangerous card.
5 mana for what's essentially a 5/4 flyer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're probably if you're swinging in with this thing, you're probably sacking your creature.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to do that too many times. Like you're not going to have that many creatures, but
This card's great in the theoretical spirit deck where you're pumping spirits out.
and even just this is one of those like threat of activation cards. Like if once you have delirium,
Yeah, your opponent's gonna want to try to block it because if they don't, then it's like, oh, well, I sack a creature, take 5 damage.
or I don't, and you didn't block it, so you took 3. Thanks for the 3 damage. I'll block with my guy now.
That is also true.
So I think this card is really good. I think it's a pretty strong uncommon for white here. I'm gonna go like B+ on Reaper.
Yeah, definitely a BB plus.
What does Silver Strike do for us?
We have Silver Strike. 3 and a white instant at uncommon that destroys target attacking creature and you gain 3 life.
So it's Kill Shot, which costs 1 less.
But you gain 3 life.
I
like it. I'd probably like it more if it's attacking or blocking. Then we probably wouldn't have got the life gain.
Yeah.
3 life can matter.
4 is a lot of mana to hold up, though.
It is. But you can essentially think of it as a blocker that would have died, I guess.
Yeah. I just don't want to like hold 4 mana up and then have them not attack, and then I look like a doofus.
It's like, oh, I guess I wasted my turn.
Yeah.
I think it's a one of. You don't draft a bunch of this card.
No.
And if you do, you don't play them all.
Do you always want the first one?
You might. Because it's unconditional removal. They have to attack you, but they're going to be attacking you.
Yeah, they're going to have to attack you. I like C+ on Silver Strike. I want to be worse on it, but
yeah,
I mean, you're going to need it. It's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Spectral Shepherd, which is 2 and a white for a 2/2 flying spirit at uncommon. And for blue and 1, you may return target spirit you control to its owner's hand. So here's another piece of that spirit deck.
Yeah. But we haven't seen the enter the battlefield spirits yet.
Right.
The only one we've had so far was like one of the first cards, Apothecary something or other, that gained you life.
Apothecary Geist, yes.
But that's not something.
Yeah,
if you're doing that every turn, then
you're paying 6 to do that too.
Yeah.
Now you do get to go turn 3 Spectral Shepherd into turn 4 Geist and have 4 power of flyers on the board and be up 3 life.
That is true though. I don't know. I like the card. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer with a possibly relevant ability.
I like that the ghost animals are ghost skeletons.
Like they're ghost sheep. He's a shepherd.
Right, but they're not like they're not like ghostly sheep. They are ghostly skeleton sheep.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty eerie card actually.
it's pretty goofy. So Spectral Shepherd, I think C- D+ really.
You pick them if you're playing spirits and you got those enter the battlefield effects.
Yeah. But he's like a Windrake is all right, but I think its days of ruling limited are over.
Yeah.
What does Stern Constable do?
We have a 1 white common. It is a 1/1 that you can tap, discard a card, tap target creature. So we have our Madness Enabler
with no Madness cards in the color.
No Madness cards in the color. But if you've got that Madness card, you can tap him, Madness a card out of your hand, and tap down the creature.
For only the price of the Madness card.
Correct. You don't actually, you just tap him. So there's no actually paying to activate his ability.
Other than discarding the card. But I like 1 mana tappers. I am usually going to be pretty high on that type of effect. But I don't know how many times you're going to be able to actually activate this guy, especially if you're in like a base white deck. We haven't seen anything other than Delirium that's really paying you off for discarding the card, and otherwise that's a pretty steep cost if you're not madnessing something.
I think if you're not madnessing, you're probably pitching a land. which means you're probably not activating this guy for the first like 4 or 5 turns of the game.
Right.
And as a 1 mana 1/1, you're probably playing him on turn 1, and then he's probably dead by the time you actually start using him.
Or you're not playing a 1 mana 1/1.
Yeah,
That would be my philosophy there. And even in like your hyper aggressive deck that just wants a body on turn 1, I'm not playing this guy.
no.
It seems like if you are in whatever deck that has madness cards and is also playing white, if you need this kind of discard outlet, you can get him. Like, there's going to be a lot of them floating around.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to be picking this guy up at the top end of the pack.
So I mean, I'm just going to give him a D-.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Strength of Arms is 1 white for a common instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And if you control an equipment, you get a 1/1 white human soldier creature token onto the battlefield. Does this seem like nuts to you? This seems nuts.
1 white for +2/+2 at instant speed is a great combat trick.
I mean, Lithomancer's Focus was great. Yeah.
And then if you control an equipment,
it makes a dude.
The dude.
This seems good. This seems really good.
Yeah, I'll play it.
Are you playing it without equipment?
Yeah, I probably am, actually.
I'm probably playing one of them without equipment.
Yeah, maybe 2.
If I start getting more equipment, I'm going to be looking to snap these up, though, as they come around.
If you've got an equipment or 2 that you're going to be playing, you're probably picking this pretty high. Because 1 mana for a dude and a buff is...
It seems really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it seems like it's going to save your dude from any sort of burn that's in this format. It's gonna push it out of the way of the puncturing light. I mean, those are all good things.
They are.
I love 1 mana combat tricks, but it is not removal. So I'll give it a B-. B- for Strength of Arms.
I think a B.
Alrighty. What does Survive the Night do?
So we have a 2 and a white instant common that gives target creature +1/+0 and indestructible for end of turn, and then you investigate.
Ooh.
Yeah. 3. I think for 3 mana, you're getting indestructible out of this card.
Yeah, that's really what it amounts to, and I don't know if I'm willing to pay that.
I don't think I am. It's. I don't know. I don't see it. I see it mattering. Like, someone's going to play this against me, and I'm going to be sad.
Yes, but then you'll probably just still beat them.
Yeah, and then next turn I'll swing in with whatever got blocked by an indestructible spirit and then kill that spirit. So
how do you feel about Mrs. Van Helsing here with her little like handheld crossbow? I don't think she'll be surviving the night.
No, that's a lot of zombies.
It's a lot of zombies.
And they're like already coming through the door.
Yeah, I don't. Who gave her that crossbow? Did they really expect that to help? Like there are hands coming through the roof. I don't know if you can see them, but they're there. So Survive the Night's like a D-.
Yeah, it's not a good card.
Next, we have Tenacity, which is 3 and a white for an uncommon instant that gives creatures you control +1/+1 and lifelink until end of turn, and you untap them. This is what I want my instant pump spells to do in white.
Yeah, I like this card. A board-wide buff and lifelink.
With a relevant ability. Yep.
And then you untap those creatures.
Yep. So you can surprise block with it. And
oh, yeah, that's... I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you could totally have your board tapped down. They come in for the attack, and you go, oh, surprise. All my dudes are bigger, have a lifelink, and are now untapped.
And if you've got a deck where you've got like Tenacity and Silver Strike, leaving up 4 mana, I mean, yeah, your opponent knows you're up to something, but it's not going to be good for them.
No. No, it's not.
So, I mean, Tenacity seems like it's pretty good. You don't want too many non-creature things happening at that cost, but I think it definitely merits inclusion. If you see it and you're in any sort of creature-based deck on color, I think you're picking Tenacity. So I'm going to give it a Probably a B minus.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. What
Yeah.
does Thalia's lieutenant do?
Is 1 in the white is a rare for a 1/1 that when it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on each other human you control. And whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, you get a +1/+1 counter on Thalia's lieutenant.
It couldn't have
So-
said, it couldn't have said human or fox.
Could not have. No, it would have been too good. That Fox synergy. It's champion of the parish.
Except a little bit better.
A little bit better, but at 2 mana instead of 1.
Yeah. I don't know. These are kind of it's a weird card for me because you want to play it as early as possible so that it's growing when you play creatures or when
Well-
you play dudes. But you also want to play it late when you have a lot of dudes so you buff them.
So my feeling on the card is you play it on turn 2 if you have it in your hand. And you let it grow. But you're not sad to draw it later in the game because it has a relevant ability if you have a board.
Yeah, I don't know. This to me feels like a constructed plant more than a limited card. And I'm probably not I'm definitely not Windmill Slamming Thalia's Lieutenant turn like pack one, pick one.
No, I don't think I would either. There's just not. There are humans in the set.
Yeah.
But there's not that many, and you're probably not getting the multiples of this guy.
No, and the humans aren't the good beaters in the set. Like the Hound and the Fox are your two best common beaters. Yeah, you've got that other one, but I mean, I don't know that the dent like it's not like allies. That it's not an ally thing where everything is an ally. So
Right. Yeah. Not everything in this set's a human. So. Yeah, I think you're right. He's a constructed card.
I'm just like for limited, I think he's like a C minus. Or like a D plus, depending on like the deck you have.
I think he's probably about a D plus.
But speaking of dumb old common humans, we have Throbbing Inspector, which now that I said that out loud, I don't like that. She's a one white for a 1/2 common human soldier, and when she enters the battlefield, you investigate. So this card was spoiled a little bit, like about midway through the set, and I looked at how many 1-power creatures there are in all the colors, like that she would be able to block and live through, and there's 0 to 2, like at the time when I looked, there were 0 to 2 in every color. So that 1/2 is practically a 1/1, which means I'm not playing it.
I think you're getting for 1 white mana, you're getting a chump blocker and a clue token.
I just don't know if it's worth the clue.
If you have absolutely no other 1-drops, maybe.
I mean no. I think the only value this has is if
the clue.
You need the clue. Yeah, because that body is practically irrelevant.
Yeah.
Now, late game, you get to top deck this and play it and then investigate and maybe draw another card, but wouldn't I have rather just drawn the card that was beneath it? And
you would have rather just drawn the other card because it wouldn't have cost you 3 mana.
Yeah. So I'm going to give Throbbing Inspector an F. I don't want it in any of my decks.
First F?
Yes.
I
don't want it inspecting anything.
I don't think it's quite that bad, but I do think it's like a D.
Tell me about Doppelgeist.
Doppelgeist. I love the name.
It's a fun name to say.
1 white for a 1/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you tap target creature an opponent controls, and Delirium. So at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if you have Delirium, you get to tap a creature that player controls.
Now see, here is a 1/1 for 1 that I'm going to play.
Yeah, there's nothing about this card. Like, you just read it, and you're like, alright, so it's a 1/1 flyer, that's good. It taps stuff when it enters the battlefield, that's good. It taps stuff every turn if you're Delirious, that's good.
Hey, you said it too. Yeah, it's catching on.
And he's pushing candles over, so he's probably going to start a fire.
Yeah, he seems like he's pretty good. If you're in that spirit deck, you definitely want multiples, but he's an uncommon, so I don't know how many you're getting.
No, and even if you're not in that spirit deck, if you're in white, I think you're pulling this guy. Because being able to tap a creature at the beginning of your opponent's upkeep every single turn.
Yeah, and you don't even you don't even need to play him on turn 1. You can just hold him. And if
Yeah.
you got nothing else to do on a turn, you just need to push a guy through. You just play the Topplegeist.
Yeah.
And topple them. Oh, man. Flavor miss that there is not a cow in this set.
You can't topple
You
a cow.
can't tip the cow.
No, you can tip the ox.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty good.
I think it's like a B plus, maybe even an A minus.
I'm willing to go B. He doesn't bring you back like an A would, but I definitely think he's a solid role player in the deck. So I'll go B on Topplegeist.
Okay.
All right, next we have a reprint. This is Unruly Mob. It is a 1/1 for 1 and a white. It is a common human. And whenever another creature you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Unruly Mob. I feel like this card was good the first time it was around.
Yeah, and it's going to be good the second time, too. You play it on turn 2, and you just kind of let it sit there.
Yep.
And it's a threat to the opponent that if they attack you and kill your chump blockers or whatever,
Yep.
that this guy gets bigger.
Yep. It seems pretty good. Yeah, that's especially if you've got like multiples of these things, and any sort of way, like if you're delirious and you have a Reaper of Flight Moonsilver out, and other dudes like
sacking dudes.
That's pretty obnoxious.
Yeah.
I think on its own, I think it's like a C. It's just a decent card. You're gonna probably play it in any white deck you're in because creatures are gonna die.
Yeah,
and
no, it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna be bigger than a 1/1, unless it's immediately dealt with or you're forced to block with it.
Yeah, unless you killed them with it the previous turn and they immediately destroy it.
Yeah. No, I agree. A C in most decks, a B in the perfect deck.
Yes. All right, and our last card, Vessel of Ephemera.
This is our cycle for the set.
This is a cycle. Yes, this is the first of the vessels. It is 1 and a white for a common enchantment, and you can pay 2 and a white and sacrifice it to cast Midnight Haunting.
Yeah.
Which is put 2 white, 1/1 flying creature spirit token dudes onto the battlefield.
I think it's for 2 low installments of white mana. Get a card in your graveyard to help you toward Delirium and a couple of blockers.
Yeah. I mean, I've won games off Midnight Haunting, like just by running the dudes out there. But that was also in a format where Intangible Virtue was a thing.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah,
it's not terrible. It's not amazing.
I think they really went out of their way to make sure that tokens weren't going to be very oppressive, so that the tokens feel like they're not great here.
Yeah. Well, it's like the first time around in Innistrad, tokens were obnoxious.
Yes.
All the spirit and human tokens.
There were a bunch.
There's so many.
I miss my Doom Traveler.
But this time we have the spirit tokens, but they're not hyper oppressive.
And we haven't seen anything that buffs all your spirits. We've seen stuff that cares about spirits, but I mean you don't want to pull back a token to your hand.
No. Yeah, so the most you're really doing with your spirits is sacking them to that angel.
Yeah.
or maybe gaining life off of them off the apothecary spirit.
Yeah.
So
I think like vessels as a delirium enabler, it seems pretty good. I don't really know that I want to spend 5 mana and a card over the course of 2 turns to play Midnight Haunting on its own.
No, but
if you're desperate for delirium,
if I'm in white, I'm probably playing at least one of these.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So I'll go like C plus on Vessel of Ephemera.
I think it's C plus.
Right, so that'll wrap up white.
Yay.
What do you think about it so far, just as a color?
As a color?
Yeah.
I think white feels pretty strong actually in the early game.
Yes.
I think their late game cards are kind of overcosted.
Yeah, I feel maybe not overcosted is the right word, but I definitely feel like it's definitely being pulled in 2 directions. You've got that real aggressive bend to it, and then you've got the everything else. and the everything else, they're like, maybe your spirits or something. And then like it doesn't feel very focused beyond that. So I don't know that we're gonna be like, you're not going to be playing expensive white spells in an aggressive deck, so it's definitely going to pair somewhere else, maybe probably blue or black, to have a stally deck.
Yeah, and I think it probably would actually pair up pretty well with red. If you can draft those cheap red aggressive creatures with some of the really good white aggressive creatures, you can probably have a pretty good early game beat face deck.
Yeah, but they're just like the early game white cards feel real focused, but after you start looking at 4 and higher, they kind of lose their focus and just do whatever they feel like doing.
Yeah.
So all right, that'll conclude white. We will move on to blue next.
Blue.
Yeah, everybody's favorite color.
Okay.
Start me off.
So we have Broken Concentration. For 1 and 2 blue, it's an instant and uncommon. You get to counter a spell.
Hey!
But it has Madness for 3 and a blue. So if you can figure out a way to discard this at instant speed with an opponent's spell in the stack, you're allowed to pay more mana to counter that spell.
In addition to whatever you did to discard it to begin with.
Spell.
Hopefully you didn't pay mana for it, or else you're just a big old dork. Yeah, this is...
So usually it's our cancel variant for the set.
It is.
Usually our cancel variants are better than cancel.
Yeah.
I don't think this card is.
It's really not. And I think it's just because it creates that feel bad moment, because like you really want to madness it out to get the value out of whatever's making you discard.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, so if the madness cost would have been the same, if it would have been say 2 and a blue,
yeah,
then I wouldn't feel bad about madnessing it. But I wouldn't feel like I was getting anything out of it.
No.
But if you reduce the madness cost to say double blue and make it like a counter spell, then the card's almost too good.
Yeah, I think that's
because
where it is.
I know it's ahead of where we're at, but I know Mad Prophet is in the set again.
Yes, he is.
So being able to say if this card had Madness blue, being able to tap Mad Prophet, counter an opponent's spell, and draw a card,
yeah,
would be insane.
Or even that the white tapper guy, like tap a dude, counter a spell.
Yeah,
right. That'd be nuts.
So I think the Madness cost, it should have been probably 2 and a blue.
I think that's fair. I feel like they played it safe.
Yeah, it's definitely a card they played it safe with.
But
it is our first cancel variant that hasn't been at rare.
That's true. Thank God for that.
Scattered to the Winds was a rare, and it just didn't need to be.
And so was Overwhelming Denial.
Yeah. So at least we're back to uncommon counters magic.
Well, we had Void Shatter, but yeah, I'm there with you on that one. I don't like my cancels to be rare.
But no, I think for the card, it's probably a C minus.
I mean, I like cancel in limited. I like being able to just say no. I think it's probably like a D plus, C minus. In sealed, I'm probably always gonna run all of them that I have, but I'm not gonna be going out of my way to pick these up in draft. I'd feel much better if it were common, because then I wouldn't feel bad that I'm like, this is an uncommon. But that's like it's not gonna be like one of those gotcha cards. I really don't foresee many people madnessing this card out.
No, you cast it for its mana cost because that's cheaper.
Yeah. Okay, so Broken Concentration is a D plus, C minus.
Yeah.
We have another reprint and close up personal picture of Tamio. Catalog at 2 and a blue is an instant common, and you draw 2 cards and then you discard a card.
I'll take it. I'll take an instant speed divination that triggers madness.
Yeah, or enables delirium.
Yeah. There's nothing about that card I don't really like.
Well, it costs 3.
It costs 3 mana. But that's a reasonable price to pay for what the card does.
Yeah, I mean it's instant speed, so you expect at 3 mana and instant speed for there to be some sort of drawback. So the discard of card is fine. I like to draw stuff at instant speed, so I'm all about catalog.
Yeah. I give it a solid C plus.
I'll give it a C. There's just no telling. Like if you're facing down 6 fox.deck, you don't want to spend turn 3 cataloging.
No, you do not.
But you may want to spend your mana using Compelling Deterrence, which is 1 in a blue. It's an uncommon instant, and it returns target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and then that player discards a card if you control a zombie.
We've yet to hit a zombie.
That's true, but we're just now in blue.
We're just now in blue. There are no white zombies. Yeah.
I like it's what is this is disperse with upside.
Yeah. Possible downside if your opponent discards like a lightning axe, but
or a fiery temper.
Fiery temper. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean I like it when my bounce is not just creature bounce.
No, yeah, being able to return any non-land permanent is pretty good. And you could even use it on yourself if you need to get back like an enchantment or something.
Yeah, then you're kind of hoping you don't have a zombie.
Yeah, then you don't want to, unless you have that fiery temper.
Yeah, and then what the heck are you doing?
I don't know. The card's it's a good card.
Yeah, I think like C+.
Yeah.
Tell me about Confirmed Suspicions.
So we have 3 and 2 blue instant at rare to counter a spell and investigate 3 times. 3 times the investigation.
Tell me you hate this card as much as I do.
5 mana counter spells are not a good thing.
No.
Even with the ability to pay 6 mana and draw 3 cards.
No, that's...
So,
there was that one...
For 11 mana, you get to counter a spell and draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
That's not the card people play.
I think there was a counter spell in Fate that was blue, and 3 to counter a spell and then you draw a card. And, I mean, in Limited, that got played, but this is not that.
Without a way to gain some other type of advantage off those clue tokens, you're not gaining anything of value.
No. No, that's bad. This is
bulk rare territory, and I'm going to be supremely disappointed when I open like 3 of these in my limited pool.
Are you picking a land over this for 14th pick?
If the last 2 cards in the pack are a land in this, I take it and then I go throw it in the trash.
All right, so I mean, I'm just gonna give it an F. Honestly, I don't think that's making it anywhere.
No.
All right, so next we have Deny Existence, which is 2 and a blue for a common instant. Also, it's been 5 instants in a row. It's all we've had so far.
Hey, so it's blue.
Counter target creature spell. If that spell is countered this way, you exile it instead of putting it into the graveyard. So it's kind of like Remove Soul, except it costs 1 more.
Yeah, but we don't really get 2 mana.
Horribly awry.
Yeah, like we don't get. I guess we do have horribly awry. I was gonna say, what's the card called? Man, going blank.
Essence Scatter.
Essence Scatter, that's it.
Remove Soul.
We haven't seen Essence Scatter in a while.
No, we haven't.
But
I think costing 3 mana is that's rough. Like, you want your Essence Scatter to cost 2.
Yeah. Because like Essence Scatter and Negate are decent cards.
Yeah.
This I see people playing it, especially in Limited. This is like your go-to counter spell probably.
I don't know. I don't have a feel yet for this format, but I don't want to deny the existence of Devilthorn Fox.
No, but you want to deny the existence of that Reaper Angel all day.
Yes, you do. It's fun to say. So the card gets points there. I deny the existence of your card. It just poofs out of existence. That's pretty funny.
I give it a C+.
I'll give it a C-. Counterspells tend to be weaker in draft, but in sealed, it's probably pretty good.
So we have Drownyard Explorers. 3 and a blue, common creature. They're a 2/4, and when they enter the battlefield, you get to investigate.
Oh boy!
Yeah. It just feels so tacked on. to every card it's on.
Which is a shame when it's tacked onto cards that's all they do.
Yeah. This isn't the card that you're playing and being happy about. Again, unless we haven't hit the thing that makes Investigate good.
Yeah, I mean the four toughness is pretty big from what it seems like in this set.
Yeah, in blue, 4 toughness is usually kind of what you want because you're probably not on the aggressive side of the table.
But I want my four toughness guy to cost 3. I mean, look, I had Ancient Crab. Ancient Crab was a 1/5 for 3.
Yeah,
I need more Ancient Crabs. I would not be sad if Ancient Crab were in every set forever.
yeah. I think they could have got away with reducing its cost by 1, and no one would have been in an uproar.
I mean, I would have been okay if it was a 1/4 at 3.
Yeah, because the difference between 1 power and 2 power in this set doesn't seem like a whole bunch.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like a D minus.
Yeah, it's like a D.
That's what I give that. Moving on, we go to Drew Now Corpse Trawler. It looks like Drew Now. Really? It looks like something you'd fight in Dark Souls, and it is 3 in a blue for a 1/1. Or a 1/1 uncommon zombie.
Hey, it's our zombie.
Yeah, it's a zombie. And when it enters the battlefield, you get a zombie, a 2/2 black zombie, untapped. Thank God. And for 2 and a black, you can pay to have target zombie gain death touch until end of turn.
I love it that it produces a zombie token.
Sure.
I like that it can give any zombie death touch, just not itself.
Yep.
I don't like that you're paying 4 mana for a 1/1.
Well, you're paying 4 mana for a 3/3 broken into 2 dudes.
Yeah. I still feel like that's a little much. I don't know.
I just realized that this might be our first Magic card that is zombie boobs, and I don't like it.
There are zombie boobs.
I don't like it. I don't know. I feel like if you got some like slow grindy deck that has a bunch of zombies, that ability gets good.
Yeah, 3 mana for death touch on any zombie you control.
If you untap with that, it seems pretty good. I mean, now suddenly this thing's trading with anything it touches.
Yeah, and really, you leave a zombie back as a blocker, and your opponent becomes hesitant to attack into it if you have 3 mana open.
Yep. I don't. It seems like I don't know how early you would take this though. Like, do you take this and go like zombies?
No, I think you take it if you've got the zombies. You don't take this and then get the zombies. I think you get the zombies first, and then you pick this guy.
I don't know. Like, is this a card that wheels? If there are 2 people in blue, I don't think this thing wheels. Yeah.
No.
So that means you're taking it like mid pack.
Yeah.
But you just may not feel great about it. I think it's like a D plus, maybe C minus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you like the next card coming up. I believe the art is something you're into.
It is. So we have Engulf the Shore for 3 and a blue, instant rare. Yeah. You get to return to their owner's hands all creatures with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you control. And I am a little bit partial to the Lovecraftian theme of the tentacles in the background. Love it.
I like the card.
I do too. It's a 4 mana
evacuation.
And the chance if you're playing this card, you're playing the islands you need to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, I love evacuation. I would love to see evacuation reprinted at blue, and 3. So this seems like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it's game winning or life saving, but it'll buy you the time you need to get to that thing.
But I mean, hey, even if you have 3 islands, this leaves your Drownyard Explorers.
Yeah, it does. It can definitely early game. It's more versatile than it is late game, where late game is simply a bounce.
Well,
early game you can play around with it with the amount of islands you're controlling a little bit easier.
Yes, so I think it's a pretty good card.
Yeah, I think it's a B plus.
Yeah, B plus on Engulf the Shore. Okay. Next, we have another rare blue instant called Epiphany at the Drown Yard, which is a stupid name. And it is X in blue to reveal the top X plus 1 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. You put that pile into your hand and the other into the graveyard.
So it's a X factor fiction, but the opponent gets to choose.
Yep. And you separate them.
Yeah.
So I would rather they separate them and I get to choose.
Yeah. No, that's like the bonus of factor fiction is you get to choose what you like. If there's that one card that you must get,
you get
it.
Yeah.
But with this, if there's that one card you must get and your opponent knows that you must get that card,
you ain't getting it.
No. But it does leave you. I don't know. You can't cast it for one.
Yeah. Well, you just won't get the card.
You just don't get it. I think it's a decent early game Delirium enabler.
Yeah.
Because you're allowed to separate them, so you get to separate them into the piles that even if it doesn't matter what they choose, you get a pile with Delirium stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as pumping like 7 mana into this thing, probably not.
No, that just seems like you're accelerating your own demise by putting everything in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not high on this card.
I think it's like a C.
I think it's like an F in limited. Honestly, yeah.
I don't think that bad.
I mean, it's a rare.
It is a rare, and I'm not happy to open this thing. I pass it, or if I'm in a sealed pool, it's a sad day.
I mean, there are better ways to enable Delirium, and there are better ways to draw cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think it's an F.
Yeah.
What does Erdwall Illuminator do?
We have a 1 in the blue for an uncommon spirit. That's a 1/3 with flying, and you investigate for the. Whenever you investigate for the first time each turn, you investigate an additional time.
So if you have this guy, and then you cast that awful blue counterspell because you hate yourself and your opponent, you get to investigate 4 times.
A whole 4 times.
Woo!
I think a 1/3 flyer for 1 in the blue is actually a decent body.
Yeah, no, I think so too, but the rest of it is flavor text.
Yeah. Hooray, an extra clue token a turn, maybe every other turn. Maybe.
This also feels like a very Dark Souls type monster thing.
Yeah, I can see that creature in Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's
a spirit.
It is a spirit.
So yay spirits, because that's like a sub theme right now. But I don't know. The card's probably like a C-.
It's an uncommon.
It is an uncommon.
You're not going to be seeing too much of it.
No.
Either.
It gets better in the deck that wants to investigate.
But what deck is that? Is that a deck?
No, we haven't seen that card yet. I don't know if it exists or not, but if it does...
This guy. I'm going to give him a D+.
Yeah, that's about where he needs to be.
Essence Flux. I got really excited about this card the first time I read it, and then I reread it. It is blue for an uncommon instant. You exile target creature you control, and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's a spirit, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. I thought it flickered any creature. Not just one.
No, it has to be one you control.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad card, but it's not high up there on my pick this first list.
If you're in Spirit.deck,
then it's pretty good, actually.
But I mean, we've seen the cards that want you to have spirits. We've seen some spirits, but none of them, other than Drogskull Cavalry, are all that big, and they're small enough to the point where that +1/+1's not really going to make a difference.
No, there's no Spirit.deck as it sets right now is not going to win. You're going to bog your opponent down maybe in a pile of 1/1s, but they're going to push through it.
And you can't even flicker the tokens.
No, you could.
Not for any value.
Not recommended.
I don't know. I feel like this is also kind of a miss.
Yeah, it's like a D-.
Yeah. Or a D+ if you're in Spirit.deck with spirits that want to be flickered.
Yeah.
Tell me about Fleeting Memories.
We have a 2 in a blue uncommon enchantment that when it enters the battlefield, you get to investigate.
Oh.
But it's more than just that. So you can, whenever you sacrifice a clue, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So
Okay.
it's an enchantment that means you get to pay 2 mana, draw a card, mill for 3.
Now, so this is our first like clue build around card.
Yeah.
This is one of them. If there are more, I don't know.
But
I want to like this card.
I do too, but I don't think it's not. You need 4 of them. You need like 4 of them on the battlefield, and then you sacrifice a clue, draw a card, and mill your opponent for 12. Like, one of them's not going to push a game through unless you're playing a super grindy deck.
Yeah.
Then this card could be an alternate win condition if you get the support for it.
It's no Sphinx's tutelage.
No, it is not, because Sphinx's tutelage doesn't require you to pay mana and sacrifice an artifact.
Now, if you go like turn 2 Erdwall Illuminator into this, you're setting yourself up for at least the threat that you're going to get there with this card.
And in a 40-card limited deck,
yeah, mill is a thing.
Mill is a thing. 3 cards is almost a tenth of the deck. So you really, theoretically, with the cards they drew at the start of the game and the cards that they're going to draw throughout the game, you probably only need to activate this guy maybe 5 times.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting close like that, but you're the part that like if it said whenever you investigate, I think this card would be bonkers.
Yeah, if you didn't have to pay the mana to activate the clue, then yeah. Interesting of note, though, it doesn't say you have to activate the clue. I just realized that.
No, you don't have to sacrifice it to draw a card.
You only have to sacrifice it. So
you can use it.
You could use it for the white
Yes.
exile spell that said sacrifice target permanent you control.
Yep.
So it has that going for it.
Yeah, I mean that is a plus. So, but I think this card is definitely, this is our first build around.
Yeah, I think if you just throw it in your deck as like maybe it works, it's like a D-.
I think it's an F if you just throw it in your deck.
If you have the deck that this card wants to be in, it could be like a B.
Now, like I will, if I get the opportunity, I will pack 1 pick this card. Like
Really?
First pick. I will do it and I will try and get there with it.
How bad does your rare in that pack need to be?
It needs to be better than Epiphany at the Drown Yard.
Okay. Pack 1, pick 1. You take that enchantment.
Uh-huh.
Pack 2, pick. You get a second one of this enchantment because.
Then I'm in. I am in.
let me continue this hypothesis. Pack 3. Do you pick the confirmed suspicions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Because why not? At that point, why not? What crazy world am I in that, yeah, I'm doing it. I just smile, put my cards down, and just I'm ready to go at that point.
Okay.
So, Fleeting Memories is a build around. As a build around, I think it's
hard to give it a grade.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I think that it's probably like it could be a B-, it could be an A.
Yeah, and it could be an F. It could be a
it could just be awful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Next we have Forgotten Creation, which is 3 and a blue for a 3/3 rare zombie horror. It has Skulk, which means it can't be blocked by powers or by creatures with greater power. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand to draw that many cards.
I like it. It's a Dragon Mage in blue, which feels kind of weird.
I mean, Wheel of Wheel of Fortune's always been in both colors.
Yeah. For constructed purposes, in a Sphinx's tutelage deck, this card is absurd.
Yeah, that's pretty bonkers.
I feel like it was pushed for that because in the limited, if you're in blue, and you have this guy, you're probably playing him.
Oh yeah.
But you're probably not activating his ability every turn.
No, that will kill you.
Yeah, you are going to mill yourself out fast.
It is nice. It's a May. It's very nice.
If it was not a May, this card would go down in value a hefty bit.
Substantially, yeah. I do also, like, right now this has got my vote for best flavor text in the set. that says my earliest work escapes me. So that it literally escaped. Um,
It's just forgotten. Just forget about it.
but yeah, I mean, I can see first picking this guy and
Yeah.
making it work. He,
Oh
he
yeah.
seems pretty good. I'm gonna go like B plus on Forgotten Creation.
Oh yeah. B plus is definitely what it should be.
I mean, yeah, he churns you through whatever you don't need.
Yeah.
All right. Furtive Homunculus is a 2/1 common homunculus for 1 and a blue with Skulk.
So on the, I actually think this card's pretty good. A 2/1 for 2 isn't the best thing ever, but I believe since it has Skulk, nothing with power 2 or less can block it. So the fact that it has 1 toughness doesn't matter. Because it's being blocked by 3 power and above creatures.
No, you got it backwards. It slips under big creatures.
Oh, yeah, I do have it backwards. Never mind. Okay. Completely disregard my last paragraph.
So it slips under big dudes, but it gets blocked by little dudes, which it's probably going to trade for at least.
Yeah.
But is that really what you want to be doing in blue at 2 mana? That's
No.
not to me. That's not. It's not a spirit. It's not a human. So
The card's kind of like filler. It's
Yeah.
just, it's a blue common.
he's a D.
Yeah.
What about Geralf's masterpiece?
So we have our first mythic in blue.
Ew.
3 and 2 blue. We get zombie horror. That's a 7/7 with flying. That gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand. For 3 of blue and discarding 3 cards, you can return them from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Tapped.
Did
They like that.
Did you like Scab Ruinator?
I don't think anyone likes Scab Ruinator.
Gosh, I don't. If this is the best that Geralf can do,
5 mana for a 7/7 flyer that's probably not actually a 7/7 is not
no.
that great.
How-
Being able to return them from your graveyard to your hand by pitching 3 cards, maybe.
If
Or to the graveyard to battlefield, but
I wish it said 3 blue or 3 and a blue colon discard your hand. I would rather it say that.
yeah. Because then you could
You could pay it with no cards in hand. You can still do it.
Yeah. And it would make this guy immediately go up to a...
He would be a 7/7 every time you bring him back.
Yeah. But no, as he sets, he's probably... If you play him on turn 5, he's probably like a 4/4.
Are you taking this guy if you're in blue and you see him?
Yeah, I probably am.
Yeah, I think so too. Because even if he's like a 4/4 for 5, I think that's still good enough. And if you've got any sort of way to discard cards, I think he gets
And there's
good.
there's plenty of that in this set. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be easy to bring him up closer to the 7/7. Although I don't know how much you actually want him to be there, because that means you're out of cards in hand.
Yeah, but then you have a 7/7 on the board.
You do.
I don't know. He's
B.
yeah, like B minus, sure.
Yeah.
Ghostly Wings is 1 and a blue for a common aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and flying. And you may discard a card to return enchanted creature to its owner's hand.
And
So
lose
here's a
the
discard
aura.
out. Yeah, lose the aura. But here's a discard outlet.
Yeah. So if you really need that madness,
It's there for free. That's what I'm looking for though on my madness enablers.
yeah, no, you don't want to pay to be able to. You don't want to pay for the privilege to be able to pay for a spell, even that madness.
Are
costs,
we
but-
playing this if we're not in some sort of madness or delirium focused deck?
Not unless this card is benefiting whatever other color you're paired up in.
Yeah.
If you need that +1/+1 and flying for your non-blue creatures that you're playing, then you're probably then this card's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like a D plus.
Yeah.
It does what you need it to do, but I think there are cards that do that better.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Gone Missing?
So we have a 4 and a blue sorcery at common to put target permanent on top of its owner's library and then investigate.
But
Yeah, five mana for the
no,
time ebb.
you can't. Yeah, it is time ebb, but you can put a land on top of their library at least.
You can.
Um,
There's that.
I don't know if you've ever been the victim of Plow Under, but
I've not.
it is the worst thing in the world. So when somebody puts 3 lands on top of your library from your board, you just want to destroy them, but you can't because you're going to draw 3 lands. So other than like just the troll factor of doing that to people, this is just not good.
No. 5 mana is way too much mana for that.
Yes. So Gone Missing, you get an F.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, we have Invasive Surgery, which is an uncommon instant for 1 blue. You can counter target sorcery spell. If you are delirious, you may search the graveyard, hand, and library of the spell's controller for any number of cards with the same name and exile those cards. Then that player shuffles his or her library.
Interesting that it doesn't exile the spell that you counter.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, no, it doesn't.
So they get the spell in their yard and I guess 3 in exile most of the timing. Like
In constructed, yeah. But like, what sorceries are we countering?
I don't know. You're countering board wipes.
But like, so like at least
does red have a fireball this time around?
yes,
You're countering the fireball.
I think it's instant.
Oh well, then I guess you're not. You're not dispelling.
So this is kind of a weird card. I don't know that it like it seems like it wants to be in constructed, but you can do better. You can dispel in constructive.
Yeah.
The lobotomy flavor isn't like all that relevant.
No, I think the card is
Probably.
depending on whatever crazy sorceries might be in store for us. This card's probably a D.
I think it's an F. Again,
F.
it's just like what sorceries we've seen a couple removals at sorcery, but like you're. I feel like too often you'd be left with this card in your hand, and they'll just play an instant, and you just frown.
And in limited, you're never going to get anything off its delirium.
No,
especially on any rare
Yeah.
or mythic sorceries that you're countering, because those are probably the ones you're going to want to save this for. They're not going to have multiples, so.
Invasive Surgery, you get an F too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, our first Planeswalker.
tell me about Jace, the Unraveler of Secrets.
So we have 3 and 2 blue. He enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty. +1 to scry 1 and then draw a card. -2 to return a creature to its owner's hand, and -8 for an emblem that whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn to counter that spell. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this card.
I'm not happy about this card.
No, 5 mana for a loyalty 5 planeswalker is pretty good. The +1 I really like. Scry and then draw. It's essentially draw your best card out of your top 2.
Yeah.
But then again, Fear and Prodigy was what? Like your top 2, 1 to hand, 1 to discard.
No.
Which one was that? Was that
That was Memory Adept.
Memory Adept?
Or no, Living Guild Pack. That was Living Guild Pack. That was the one I played. Yeah.
That was a good ability.
Yes.
And I think Scry 1 then draw a card is an equally good ability.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been flavorful for him to have the other one, so that he would have helped Delirium and whatnot.
This is such a weird do nothing planeswalker. Like you pay 5 for a sorcery speed unsummon. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think I don't know. If you can get that emblem, it's almost game winning. Almost, because you can play around that.
And if you have stuff on the board already, you just turn it sideways.
Yeah. But I don't know. For limited purposes.
Oh yeah, I think that card advantage is backbreaking.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so hard to judge a planeswalker.
It is, especially these more expensive ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's all that great. I think he's like maybe a B minus in limited.
Yeah. That's what I would give him. You can't give him anything lower than that because planeswalkers are just so good.
Yeah, just that repeated card advantage.
But I don't think he's an A at all.
No, no. Let's see. Next we have Jace's Scrutiny, which is 1 in a blue for a common instant. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn. Investigate.
Yay! It's I don't know. I've never liked the blue theme of minus something -X/-O. It's just never been my thing. Giving a card that does that investigate doesn't make me want to play it more.
Nope, not. Look, here's where I am. Like I've played the one way back in Morningtide. I think it was like Stream of Unconsciousness or something like that. It was 1 blue for -3/-0, and if you controlled a wizard, you drew a card. That's where I want these types of effects to land.
You want them to replace themselves.
Yeah, and this
just isn't a replacement.
Nope, it's close, but it's not there. And Glowy Forehead Lady is not helping its case either.
Her face.
Yeah, that's so angry.
No, I think the card's probably a D-.
I think it's an F.
F.
Yeah. Quick aside, I've given lots of cards in blue an F.
Yes, you have. That's actually usually your color too.
It's also the color that they tend to gimp the most. So.
Or it's completely busted. So.
What happens for Just the Wind?
Just the Wind. I like the name of the card.
Yes.
The flavor's there. But for 1 in the blue, you get a common instant that returns target creature to its owner's hand and can madness for a single blue.
Oh, so you let me madness for unsummon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess unsummon's too powerful for standard nowadays. I probably wouldn't play that over whatever the earlier
Compelling Deterrence.
I would play Compelling Deterrence over Just the Wind.
Oh yeah. It is uncommon versus a common.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm also like I'm not picking up Just the Wind and looking to madness it. That is kind of extra. That's bonus.
If you get to madness it, it's I got to madness this card.
Yeah.
But you're not like shooting for it.
Yeah, for sure.
C.
D.
D.
Tell me about Lamplighter of Selhoff.
So for 4 in a blue, we got a zombie horror.
Yeah.
It seems to be a popular combination this set.
Yeah, it's because zombies aren't horrific enough. These are so horrific they are actually horrors.
But we have a common. It's a 3/5 that when it enters the battlefield, if you control another zombie, you can draw a card, and if you do, you discard a card.
He seems pretty good. I mean, I kind of like this guy.
5 mana for a 3/5 that almost pretty much guarantees you're going to draw a card, discard a card, because at that point in the game, you probably got another zombie going.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
I think this is pretty good. It's a common, so you could theoretically stack up on these guys. Like you could probably get 2 of them if you wanted 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think this is actually going to be one of Blue's better commons.
I agree.
It's a big dude for the cost too.
Yeah, 3/5 body is nothing to scoff at,
or nothing to sell off at.
If we're going that way.
Okay. I'll give it a C+.
Okay. It's just such a bad pun. From a flavor standpoint, I love that he has arms everywhere.
I like that he has little hands holding the candles.
Yeah. His flavor text, though, should have totally been a helping hand.
A helping hand when you need one.
Yeah.
Or 2. All right. Next, we have Manic Scribe, which is a 0/3 uncommon human wizard for 1 in a blue. And when he enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if you are delirious, that player mills 3.
Yeah, maybe. I think it. So, is this a cycle?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
this is the cycle with Topplegeist.
Yeah, I would say we had the Topplegeist, so I guess we're gonna get one in every color that deliriums every upkeep.
Every opponent's upkeeps.
Opponent's
Yes.
upkeeps.
Yes.
Okay. So one in the blue gets you a blocker with a fair body and 3 cards off the top of your opponent's deck. And then if you're delirious, you get that every turn.
Now,
It can wear on the player.
it'll wear on a player, but it's fueling delirium.
It is. But after about the second time this activates, they're delirious anyway. So
Yeah. I don't know. I want to like this card, but I think I've been spoiled by a ration cleric, and I want him to have 1 power.
that's not in blue. Doesn't do that as well as white.
Well, but it has the Erdwall Illuminator, who is a flying 1/3 for 2.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but honestly, see, this is another thing. Like, how important is that 3 toughness? What does he block and live through? I don't know that he blocks and lives through all that much.
No, because most of the stuff we've been seeing has about 3 power.
Right.
So it's almost, if you want the mill to keep going off, you're almost not blocking with this guy and letting damage through.
Yeah. So that which in that case you just feel bad. Like this is no Hedron crab.
No, it is not.
And realistically, I want 2 of them. If I'm going like this is, I want this guy and that enchantment like that in my mill deck. You're starting to look at needing multiple copies of multiple uncommons to make this mill deck work.
In a limited standing, you're not going to get that mill deck going without extreme luck.
I will still first pick that whatever enchantment up there. I'll still do it at least once. So I don't know. I think Manic Scribe's probably a D in any old random blue deck, and if you're in that mill deck, I think he's probably maybe a C+.
At the highest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about nagging thoughts?
So we have a 1 in the blue common sorcery that lets you look at your top 2 cards, put one of them into your hand, the other into your graveyard, and you can madness it for the same mana cost.
So for 1 in a blue, you get to Jace Living Guild Pact +1.
Yeah.
I mean that's I like that effect, but I don't know if I want to spend a card to do it.
It replaces itself and it helps with delirium.
And every once in a while, you get to madness it at instant speed.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad card at all. But I don't think it's a top pick either.
No, I feel like it was probably like a 7 to 10 pick on a blue deck.
Yeah.
You probably always want like the first copy of it. I mean, it's card selection.
It is.
It's card, and especially if you do have something that cares about delirium, it gets you closer to that. So I don't know. I think maybe like a C.
Yeah. It's C just because it helps you with delirium.
Alrighty. Now we have the next intro pack rare. We have Nephalia Moondrakes, which is a rare Drake, is 5/5 for 5 and double blue. Same cost, actually, as Drogskull Cavalry.
Yep, but 1 higher power and toughness.
1 higher power and toughness, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn, and you may pay 4 and blue and exile it from your graveyard to give creatures you control flying until end of turn.
That is a lot of mana for that effect. 6 mana for like what, levitate?
Yeah, for a turn.
Yeah. It could be the card that wins you the game. It could be that finisher.
But
I don't think it's going to be that finisher often.
This might be one of the largest Drakes in Magic.
A 5/5?
Yeah.
It may be. Because Drakes are historically like 2/2s.
Yeah, they're usually smaller. But I guess it's because it's a pack of Drake or a
yeah, it is Moon Drakes.
A school of I don't know.
Maybe a flight.
Flight.
Dragons are in flights.
It's a penguin of Drakes.
Penguin?
A penguin of Drakes. Coined it here. I guess I would probably begrudgingly first pick this. It's a flyer. And if you make it past the early game, it seems like that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. B.
So I just looked it up, and I believe it is the most powerful Drake. I can't find another Drake with higher power than
the
4.
the only thing that comes to mind is Quicksilver, and I might be thinking of a dragon. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So B.
Yeah, I think B.
Okay. What does Niblis of Dusk do?
So for 2 in blue, we get a common spirit. That's a 2/1 with flying and paralysis.
Dong.
If it was in red, it would cost less mana.
I know, right? Like we got the Storm Chaser Mage was a 1/3 for blue red with flying and prowess
And haste.
and haste. Yeah.
And that was an uncommon. I don't think the drop to common should make this guy that much worse.
Yeah. I mean,
2 power on the paralysis guy is nice.
yeah, but it's also 3 mana.
It is 3 mana, and you usually want something a little bit beefier by that point in the game.
Yeah. Especially like cuz you're by that turn you're probably not going to be able to prowess him all that often and do anything else on that turn.
Yeah.
So
A C.
yeah, maybe like D plus. He's still got evasion, so it's hard to rate him super low, but he's not great.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have Ongoing Investigation, which is an uncommon enchantment for 1 in a blue, and whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, investigate, and you may pay 1 in a green and exile a creature card from your graveyard to investigate and then gain 2 life.
Yeah. I don't know.
It really just depends on how good investigating is, and from what we've seen, I don't think it's that great. And like even in my hypothetical uncommon blue investigate clue deck, I don't need more help investigating. I need more help sacrificing my clues.
Yeah. 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 I don't think it's that great of a card.
No, I think this is pretty bad. I think it's like a D minus,
Yeah, it's maybe even
an F.
an F. I don't know if it's that bad though.
Um,
Okay,
what's next?
we have pieces of the puzzle. So for 2 in a blue, we have a common sorcery that you reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and put up to 2 instant or sorcery cards from among them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard.
How do you like this?
In limited, I'm probably not running that many instants and sorceries.
Nope.
In constructed, you play to it.
I like this a lot. In constructed for sure. We saw this effect at 4, and everybody hated it, with I think good reason. But this can almost read as divination from the top 5 cards.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get. Obviously, you can miss, but you're not gonna draw lands with it. You're gonna stack your graveyard with what you need. So I don't know. I feel like this could actually be a constructed player, but in limited, it does not seem good. Even if you do have a couple good instants and sorceries, it's not worth getting rid of lands and creatures for.
No.
So I'm gonna give it like a D minus in limited.
Yeah, in limited, it's definitely not good.
All right. Next, we have Pore Over the Pages, which is an uncommon sorcery for 3 double blue. You draw 3 lands, or draw 3 cards, untap up to 2 lands, and then discard a card.
It does stuff.
Yeah, it does some stuff.
Okay, so for essentially 3 mana, you draw 3, discard 1.
Yes.
But you have to have the initial buy-in of 5 mana.
Yes. I mean, I played Enhanced Awareness.
Yeah, no, it's something I would play. In limited, I probably wouldn't want more than 1 of these in my deck.
No. But I don't know. This actually seems pretty good in limited.
So, okay, so the nice thing about it is you cast it for 5, say on turn 5. You cast it with the entirety of your mana pool. You untap those 2 lands, discard a madness card that you can cast for 2, and then tap those lands back down and madness something.
Yeah, that would be good.
So you can make it work for you. You can get pretty decent value off of it, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and hey, you got to draw 3 cards, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like this card in limited. I'd probably play the first one of them every time I get, even if I don't really even have reasons to discard stuff. I think I'm still playing the first one of these, and
Oh yeah.
maybe even the second if you're in that space where you need to discard stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll give it a C plus.
Yeah, B minus.
All right, what's next?
We have Press for Answers. It's a common sorcery for 1 in the blue. You tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, and you get to investigate again. It's a sad zombie.
It is a really sad zombie. It reminds me of Patches from WoW.
I don't know how good this card is.
I think this card is bad.
Freezing a creature and getting a clue token for 2 mana at sorcery speed is not the best thing you could do with a turn.
I mean, Send to Sleep wasn't all that good in Origins, and it tapped multiple creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Press for Answers is just bad.
Probably like a
Like
D minus.
Yeah, D minus. But tell me about Mr. Beefy Spiritual Forearms Rattlechains.
So we have a 2/1 rare spirit for 1 in the blue with flash, flying, and when it enters the battlefield, the target spirit gets hexproofed for end of turn. And you may cast spirit spells as though they had flash.
Ooh, here's a payoff for being in spirits.
Yeah, so for 2 mana, you get a 2/1 with flash and flying that gives all your other spirits flash and gives something hexproof. So it's almost a combat trick even.
I like how enthusiastic the Flash was.
Flash.
Get me a Flash. I just I don't know that this is good either.
I don't think in limited that this card's great. I do think in constructed you could make them work pretty well.
I mean, we just saw Dimensional Infiltrator at this the exact same body and cost in Oath with a slight evasion ability instead of this hexproof nonsense. And I don't think it was all that good either. I just feel like it's too small. Like I'm kind of off these like small flyers, especially because like he gets blocked by that 1/3 uncommon and dies and does not kill.
Does
that
not
thing.
kill the 1/3. It's true. So I don't know, probably a C plus.
Yeah, I think like C plus. Next we have a reprint. This is Reckless Scholar. It is an uncommon human wizard 2/1 for 2 in a blue with tap. Target player draws a card, then discards a card. So finally, we get Merfolk Looter back, kinda. Except
Kinda.
not really. He has 1 more power,
Yeah.
and he can target anybody.
Yeah. Well, you're really only going to be targeting yourself.
Unless you're in the mill deck, and you tap him to make them lose the game.
That's true. 3 mana for a 2/1 that enables madness.
And
It's okay.
hey, I mean, looters are good.
Yeah.
Card selection is good. I just don't know that how big the difference is between a 2-drop and a 3-drop. Because you're gonna play him and you're not gonna be doing anything with him. He's gonna sit on the board and tap to draw you cards. He's not gonna be getting in combat until you're desperate.
I feel like there's better things you can do on turn 3, but maybe later in the game, he might be worth casting.
Yeah, he doesn't have haste, so
He does not.
So I mean, I think he's like a B minus. I think the looting's still good enough that
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's not bad.
yeah. All right, Rise from the Tides. What does that do?
So we have a 5 in the blue uncommon sorcery that gets you a 2/2 zombie token for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard.
Ayo.
I don't know. So 6 mana is a lot of mana for potentially not a lot of payoff.
How many zombies are you looking to get out of this?
At 6 mana,
Yes.
3. Because
Yeah.
that would make each of them a bear.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, that would give you 6 power.
yeah.
I think that's about your break even for this. I think if you're making 4 or 5, then you're in business town.
You're doing pretty good. If you're making anything less than that, you probably shouldn't have cast the spell.
Yeah. But do so it does seem kind of like a build around card.
Yeah. You want it's like what was it? Pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Limit it. You're not going to get a ton of value out of this guy.
No, I don't think so either.
But construct it. If you have the deck that's willing to pay that much mana for that ability,
Yeah.
it'll probably do its thing.
Oh, yeah, I think so. So I think in limited, this thing's like D plus maybe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sometimes you do just pay 6 to make 2/2/2s.
Yeah. Make a couple of dudes.
Yeah. Oh, they're tapped. Gross.
Oh, are they? Dennis? Oh, they are.
Oh, gross.
Damn it, wizards! Zombies being tapped.
Oh man, that's awful. Never mind. F. F.
Well, okay. Seagraft Scab then.
I like this guy. He's almost my Irration Cleric.
He is. So 2 mana for 1/3. Historically a decent card.
Hey, he's not a zombie horror. He's just a zombie.
Just a zombie.
He has a harpoon hand.
And he's got like a crazy like deep sea diving suit on.
So my question is, harpoon hand, why is that not more than 1 power?
It's the dull harpoon.
I don't know, it looks pretty sharp to me. It has a trident on the other end.
I think that's on his back.
Oh.
I think
Well, then
he's got,
this guy has a harpoon hand and a trident.
Yeah.
That's at least 2 power. Or first strike.
Nope. Zombies are too dirtily.
Okay. I mean, I think sure, whatever. He's a D.
Yeah.
We have Silberlind Snapper. He is a common turtle for 5 and a blue. He's a 6/6, but he can't attack unless you've cast a non-creature spell this turn.
I don't like to jump through hoops like that every turn for my bombs.
Well, but he's not a bomb. He's just a big 6/6 guy.
6/6. In the limited, a 6/6 will push through.
This kind of reminds me of the, I think it's called like Steelclad Serpent from Scars of Mirrodin. It was a 4/5 for 5, I believe, but it was an artifact creature, but it could only attack if you controlled another artifact. That kind of is what this reminds me of, except that you get to attack with this less, because you have to do it every turn.
Every single turn, you have to cast a non-creature spell.
It's big. I mean, it shuts down your opponent's ground offensive.
Yeah, I think six mana for a 6/6 blocker isn't what you want to do on turn 6.
No, but at the same time, I feel like, maybe having one of these, picking one up late in a pack somewhere, is kind of good insurance. Like, just in case you run into this deck that's going to have, like, big stompy dudes, you got your snapper to have your back.
Yeah, I would play one of them. I wouldn't play more.
Yeah, I think so. He does too easily get you to the point where you're just like, I can't attack with my thing that would win me the game.
Yeah.
But then again, he's a common.
He is.
Yeah, D.
D. Okay.
All right.
Silent Observer.
Yeah.
3 and a blue, you get a 1/5 of flying at common. It's a spirit.
It's a spirit.
But spirits in the set have had such low power.
They really have.
They're all like 1 power spirits.
Is this guy big enough? Is his butt big enough?
It's up there.
It's big.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for the opponent to kill him in combat.
Yeah. Without spending an extra card for sure.
Yeah. I think in blue he's good enough.
Yeah. I think I'm always gonna play the first one that I have.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he doesn't seem all that exciting. It's such a slow clock.
Oof, he's not gonna kill the opponent as he sets.
I've killed people with the ration clerics. You can't tell me that.
No, I think it's a solid C.
Yeah, it'd be like a D plus on Silent Observer. Tell me about sleep paralysis.
So we have an enchantment aura at common for 3 and a blue that enchants a creature, enters the battlefield and taps that creature, and that creature doesn't get to untap. It's we've had it before. We got it again
But it's worse than claustrophobia.
by just a little bit. Yeah.
I like claustrophobia better. I
In limited, I'll play it. I'll be happy about it. In constructed, no one's going to play this card. So
I'll play it in limited, but kind of be meh about it. Like this, it's a necessary evil in blue, and sometimes it doesn't remove like a problem utility creature if such a thing exists.
it does tap the creature though. So if
It
it's
does.
if it's a utility creature that relies on being tapped, it stops it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Like C plus.
I'd say even C.
All right.
Yeah.
Next we have Stitched Mangler, which is 2 and a blue for a 2/3 zombie horror, and there we are back to zombie horrors. It is common. It enters the battlefield tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, you tap target creature an opponent controls, and it doesn't untap during that controller's next untap step. So
It would be. I'd like it a lot more if it didn't enter the battlefield tapped.
yeah, this is kind of an interesting card, though, because it really puts a dent in your opponent's plan to attack you if you're dropping it turn 3.
Yeah. And it's a 2/3 for 3, which is a fair body.
In blue, for sure. Now, we have seen that, like, that's not... Those aren't stats that let it live through a lot of things in this world.
Barring spirits, no.
So, it's... I think it's like a D plus, maybe a C minus.
C minus, yeah.
Depending on your, like, zombie synergies and whatnot.
All right. So we have a Stitchwing Scab, 3 and a blue for a 3/1 zombie horror and uncommon with flying. For 1 a blue and discarding 2 cards, you get to return one from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So he is a baby, one of Geralf's masterpieces.
And a baby that I probably won't play.
No. 4 mana for a 3/1 flyer is
A
not...
fragile 3/1 flyer.
Yeah. I don't see many people playing this card and enjoying it.
No, I think, like, if you're hard up for evasion, you do it. But other than that, you're just like, nah.
Yeah. The D.
Yeah, like D minus even.
Yeah.
Next we have Glenalindra Sentinels. Oh, no.
You are wrong.
Storm Riders. It's the same card. It's a 3/3 flyer for 5 with flash at common. It's 4 and a blue. It's a spirit.
Yeah.
Snooze alert.
Yeah. A D plus maybe.
I
think Flash makes it a D plus because it allows you to leave up mana on your opponent's turn for combat tricks or counter magic, and then when they decide not to do anything because you left your entire side up at the end of their turn, you flash this guy in.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you're probably always going to play the first one.
Probably.
I mean, we were playing the Ghostly Sentinel from Battle, and I think he was a 3/3 with Vigilance and flying for 5. So this is comparable, I think. Yeah, like D plus, C minus.
Yeah.
Trail of Evidence.
Okay. It's okay. I guess we should talk. 2 in the blue, enchantment and uncommon. That whenever you cast an instant or sorcery card spell, you get to investigate.
Gross.
Yay! More investigations for clues I don't want.
And again, it's not helping us sacrifice them.
No.
That's what I care about at this point.
It gets you more of them, but you still have to pay to sacrifice them.
I don't want that.
No. F.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's an F. It's not even a build around.
No.
Next, we have Vessel of Paramnesia. Paramnesia. Perambulibus. It's the next vessel. It's a common enchantment for 1 and a blue, and you can pay blue and sacrifice it to mill the top 3 cards of target player's library, and then draw a card.
If you're in that mill strategy for limited, it's great.
Yeah, I wish it cost 1 to play and 2 to sack.
Yeah. Eh.
Or just 1 to play and 1 to sack.
Yeah,
The
that would be
2
really
is
good.
annoying. The 2 is annoying to me. But
Um, no, it's a fine card. There's nothing special about it though.
I mean, I feel like if you're in that blue deck, you're going to be getting a lot of these. And you just
Yeah,
play a bunch of them, and
they
that could be
replace
fun.
themselves
Slowly.
slowly. And it can hurt the opponent or enable delirium for the
Enable
opponent.
delirium. Yep.
It does say target player, so if you're in that delirium deck,
You can get there with it.
yeah, you can do it to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. I think it's like a D.
Yeah,
even
D
in
plus,
even
maybe.
in those decks. All right, tell me about our last blue card.
So we have Welcome to the Fold is 2 and 2 blue for a sorcery rare that has Madness for X and 2 blue. And then when you gain control of target creature, if its toughness is 2 or less. If Welcome to the Fold was cast for its Madness cost, you gain control of target creature if its toughness is X or less. I like it. 4 mana Domesticate,
Permanent.
permanent. Yeah, you don't have to give their thing back ever.
Yep.
And you could Madness it if you've got a bunch of mana open. And
I think it's interesting that it's toughness, not power, because if it were,
well, the toughness in the set is so far has beaten out the power.
it has, but if it were power, you could use that -4, -0,
You
and
could
steal a big dude.
for pretty cheap. That is true. That might have figured into the card design actually. I don't know.
The other thing that I think is interesting with it is that the madness is not actually a discount.
It is not. It's actually it's an alternate casting cost almost.
Right.
This time.
It
It's
just
always alternate casting cost, but this time it really feels like it.
it's never gonna save you, like, because it's if you madness it with X equal 2, you could have just cast it.
Yeah. At least it's not more expensive.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think this is a decent card, and without actually running the numbers on how many toughness 2 or less dudes there are.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to probably first pick this card.
Maybe. Yeah. If I'm in blue and it comes around, I'm definitely picking it up.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, the control magic's definitely a powerful effect, especially when it's permanent.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're in black, maybe there's some shrinking stuff that you can do to get a bigger dude. Maybe.
Perhaps there might be like a -X spell.
So, I give it like a B, B
Yeah.
minus.
I think B minus.
All right.
That
So
is blue.
that wraps up blue. What do you think?
I still feel about the same. Blue almost kind of fell all over the place a little more than white did.
Yeah, blue doesn't.
Some zombie synergies, not a ton, and some clue token things.
Yeah.
Uh,
Minor mill
minor
thing.
mill.
But yeah, they don't seem to kind of work with each other. They're all hanging out at different corners of the room.
Yeah. Blue seems like a great second color. To
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to be like main blue in the set.
No.
So, you want to move on to black?
Yeah, if you're ready to.
I'm ready to move. Let's go black. All right. Next, or the first black card we have is a common sorcery by the name of Alms of the Vein, and it costs 2 and a black. And it says target opponent loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life, and you can madness it for 1 black.
Yeah. I want to madness this card. I don't want to cast
Oh yeah,
it for its.
I don't know if you ever played during Morning Tide, but there was a card called Noggin Whack, which was this card, except instead of madness, it had prowl. And if you prowled it, your opponent also discarded a card because screw them. Yeah, it was awful. I hated that card. So I think if you can consistently madness this thing,
it's good.
or get multiples of it and consistently madness them, then you're in business.
Yeah. But for 3 mana, Three. I guess it's a 6 point life swing.
Yeah,
Not
you don't want to cast it for 3.
no. Uh, C plus.
Yeah, probably C. Um, Asylum Visitor. What does she do for us?
We got a rare vampire wizard for 1 in the black. We get a 3/1. That's the beginning of each player's upkeep. If that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and lose 1 life. And it has madness for 1 in the black. Uh,
So there's a lot of hype surrounding this card.
yeah, it's almost Bob. That happens every single turn if there's no cards in hand.
Well, if it happens on your opponent's turn, chances are it's not going to happen on your turn.
No, it's not.
So, but it doesn't ding you for 6 if you flip something big.
It does not, and you don't actually have to show your opponent what you're drawing either.
That's true. That is true.
I don't know. 1 in the black for a 3/1 is a decent beater body.
Yeah, in limited, I'm on board for a 3/1 for 2.
If you get to draw your extra cards, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is good in limited for different reasons than why it might be good in constructed.
Yeah, in constructed it's good because it's maybe Bob, but
Yeah.
And then madness is almost just tacked on.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd thing, but I guess like you madness it out as your last card and then draw a card at the next upkeep.
Sure.
Like limited, it seems like a B.
Yeah, that's a B.
Okay. And I think I'm noting now here that this uncommon enchantment cycle that behind the scenes our next card belongs to is actually a thing. It's an uncommon enchantment for 2 and a black. Creatures you control have Skulk, which means they can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. And for 4 and a white, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So we are seeing these enchantments with off-color activations.
Yeah.
Or enemy color
Enemies.
activations.
3 mana to give all your creatures Skulk doesn't seem bad.
No, if you're in a weenie deck, that seems really good. But
It's almost a non-bow though.
Yes.
To have the creatures you control get +1/+1.
yeah, it's kind of weird that they would do that. Is this guy missing fingers?
No, they're he's got webbed fingers. They're together.
What?
Yeah, he's like a fish
What?
guy. Look at his eye. He's got like
I
a fish
see
eye.
that eye, but like his other hand is normal. That's weird. I don't like pepperoni finger man. This seems like it's an interesting effect, and we'll have to see how black creatures play out with how powerful they are. But I think in the black-white deck, this seems like a pretty good card,
Yeah,
just for the Skulk part.
Yeah, I would play it just for the Skulk. I would probably never activate its ability
Unless
I
they
got
have
nothing-
no dudes.
Yeah, unless I got nothing better to do with 5 mana.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, I played Clifftop Lookout in BFZ, and it was good. So that 5 mana to pump all your dudes is a real thing.
Yeah. C plus.
Yeah, I think C plus in the right deck that wants it. Tell me about Black's first mythic.
Oh, so we have Beyond the Beyond, or Behold the Beyond.
There you go.
So for 5 and double black, you get a sorcery that discards your entire hand and lets you search your library for 3 cards and put them into your hand, and then you shuffle.
So it's kind of like Doomsday.
Yeah. In limited and constructed, I don't think you want that effect on 7 mana.
But what if it's your last card?
Then it's probably pretty good, but I feel like I don't know. I passed it. Like I probably passed this card. And
Yeah, I think so in limited that you pass this, but I think it has potential in constructed. If you can ramp out to it,
maybe.
I
Yeah.
think there's potential to it. But no, I think in limited this is an F.
Yeah. That's just too much mana for that ability.
Yeah, and really, like, what are you gonna go get that's that good?
Yeah. Oh, so here's our -X spell.
Yep.
So
What do we
Biting
have?
Rain. 2 and 2 black. We get a sorcery that gives all creatures -2/-2 until end of turn, and madness for 2 and a black. So
Okay.
actually, madness is for cheaper.
Uh-oh. Careful.
4 mana for -2/-2 across the board. We've had that at cheaper before.
Yeah, I mean we could play Languish in
Yeah.
constructed.
So in limited, it'll probably actually be pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like it kills a lot of stuff in this world.
Yeah. Uh, but I don't know. A C minus.
Yeah, I think you almost always play the first one in your deck, especially if you get it early enough to build around it. But yeah, it gets bad quickly,
Yeah.
and can be very bad in some matchups. So yeah, I'll just go C minus. Next, we have another black enchantment. We have Call the Bloodline. It's an uncommon enchantment for 1 and a black. You can pay 1 and discard a card to put a 1/1 black vampire knight creature token with lifelink onto the battlefield, but you may only activate this ability once each turn.
Well, there's our madness.
Yep, well, it costs mana.
It does,
So,
but I think 1 mana is a fair trade-off considering you're getting a 1/1 lifelinker out of the deal. Also,
yeah.
uh, I have no problems playing this card in limited.
Yeah, to me, I would treat it less as a madness enabler and more as like a spell shaper. And like it turns lands into dudes,
Yeah,
which is fine by me.
yeah. I think it's a solid like C plus, maybe even a B minus.
Yeah, I just without ways to refill your hand, it becomes a dead card, and I don't know that as the game goes later, you're gonna like the how relevant the 1/1s are gonna be.
It's true.
But I think it's like a C or a C plus maybe. It's cheap enough that you can play it early and get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we have next?
We have Creeping Dread for 3 and a black, another black enchantment, at uncommon. At the beginning of each of your upkeeps, each player discards a card. Each opponent who discarded a card that shares a card type with the card you discarded loses 3 life. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird card.
It is an odd effect. With Madness in the set, I almost feel like I don't want to play this because
Yeah,
I'm giving my opponent the ability to Madness
and it hurts you and like for what 3 life?
at
And
4 mana.
yeah, that I don't really
And
like
it
this.
is not a May ability. So
No.
if you got a card like 1 card left in your hand and it's like the card you need to win the game, and this triggers at your opponent's upkeep, too bad. Or it is
Yep.
your upkeep.
It's your up.
But that's still before you would draw another card to not discard the card you need to win the game.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. I don't know. This seems like a big
F.
old F. Yeah.
Not a fan of that card.
I think this is also just kind of telling that we've got a lot of enchantments in this
There have
block.
been. I did not realize there were so many enchantments.
And I think it is to fuel delirium, just like to put more of them out there in all the other colors.
Yeah, so that there's a chance of actually having an enchantment in the yard.
Yeah. But yeah, there have been a lot of them. So up next, we have Crow of Dark Tidings. It is a common zombie bird.
Zombie bird.
2/1 for 2 and a black. It flies. When it enters the battlefield or dies, you mill the top 2 cards of your library. So here we have Self Mill.
Yeah, that's our first self mill card.
Yes.
At least the first one that's dedicated to it.
I don't.
Uh,
I don't know
2/1
that I'm-
flyer for 3.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to
Get
do
better
that.
stuff.
Even in black.
Yeah.
It is a zombie for stuff that cares, but
Yeah, I just
like if I have this in hand and I have Call the Bloodline on the board, I'm gonna be really thinking about discarding it to make a zombie or make a vampire.
yeah. I'll take a 1/1 with lifelink over a 2/1 with flying for 4 or for 3 mana.
Yeah.
D minus.
Yeah, D minus for Crow of Dark Tidings. Also, missed opportunity to somehow work in the murder of crows joke. Hey, we have a reprint.
Dead weight.
We have Deadweight. It's 1 black for an aura. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. I mean, I liked it better when it was what was the black shock? Disfigure? Was it Disfigure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it better when it was an instant, but hey, whatever, Deadweight. It's fine. I will I will play the first and second of these that I get.
Well, yeah, one black for -2/-2 is great. It's I don't know,
So
solid like C plus on
I
that
don't, I
card.
don't know. Somebody brought this up that like the guy who has the ball on his leg was at least a 3-3. Like this is a
Yeah,
this human, this like junky little townsfolk guy was a 3-3.
and he's strong enough to drag that ball along.
Yeah, it's nuts. But it's beside the point. I don't know, like C plus.
Yeah, that's
It
what I think for it.
it doesn't kill anything big, but at least puts it into the range that you might be able to kill with your dudes.
Yeah.
Tell me about Diagraph Colossus.
So we have a 2 and a black for a rare zombie giant. That's a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, it enters with a +1/+1 counter for each zombie in your graveyard. And whenever you cast a zombie, you get a zombie tapped.
Is this the payoff for Zombie Tribal?
It looks like it. It's almost like the white human one, the
Oh yeah,
dot-
the Thalia's
lieutenant or
lieutenant. Yes.
whatever, for zombies. So it's probably entering. If you play it on turn 3, it's probably a 2/2, maybe a 3/3.
Yeah.
If you play it later in the game, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, this is kind of another one of those like feel bad cards. Like you don't want to play it too early because then it's not going to be big. But
But
then
then
you're
you get the zombies off of it.
yeah.
But if you play it late, then it's big. It's almost its abilities contradict each other to an extent.
Right, and like I guess they're both kind of good. Like if you had to, it's almost like a split card.
Yeah, like you kind of choose one of the effects to get.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
guess that versatility is good.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
three mana for a 2/2 with fairly relevant abilities that might be bigger than a 2/2. It's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't have any evasion, so like just being big may not be enough for this guy. And I don't know like how big does it need to be? Like probably
don't
at
know.
least a 5/5
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd pick one this guy,
and try and
uh,
get there. Yeah,
then you're locked. Then I'm drafting zombies. That
which
like,
means you are blue black.
yes. And from what we've seen so far, that doesn't look like the colors I want to be in.
No, at least not blue.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a C
Yeah, I think
in
so.
any deck, and he's a B minus if
Yeah.
he's in a zombie deck.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's about right. Next, we have Ever After. It is a rare sorcery for 4 and 2 black. You return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those creatures is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. And you put Ever After on the bottom of its owner's library.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm in on this card.
I will take it. Yeah.
Double
pretty good.
double rise from the grave for 1 more mana.
And you get it to the bottom of your library.
Now it can't steal from your opponents.
No, but I think that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know if in limited it's good enough. Like, what are you bringing back? A 2/1 stupid crow? Like,
Yeah. For limited is probably not as good as it could be in constructed.
yeah.
But I think in limited, even though it's still probably a C plus,
Yeah.
I'd play
I
it.
think it's like a C in limited. Yeah, because even it might almost just be worth it to play it for 1 creature, depending on what you're getting back.
Yeah.
All right, so C plus for Ever After.
Yay.
What about Farbog Revenant?
So we have a 2 and a black for a common spirit. That's a 1/3 with Skulk and Lifelink. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the more of that low power, high toughness game that this set's playing,
But low power is what you want on a creature with Skulk,
but not on a creature with lifelink.
but not on a creature with Lifelink. But it's that little bit.
I
One
mean,
life left them, 1 life back to you.
this to me seems like a blocker, not an attacker.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, the Skulk is. I mean, you're almost always going to be able to hit them with him.
Yeah.
I just don't know how relevant the 1 life. It is a spirit.
It is a spirit. Like I think our first black spirit.
I believe so. So
Uh, but because if you're playing spirits, though, it's pretty
you're
likely that you're in
white.
white and blue.
Maybe not. I mean, you might just nuts to the wall with blue because and take black white could be a thing. It's been a thing in the past.
Yes.
So I mean, depending
Yeah.
on the deck, this guy could actually be end up being pretty good. It could be a solid role player. Um, Probably though, I think D plus.
C minus. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How about from under the floorboards?
So we have a rare sorcery for 3 and 2 black for Madness X and 2 black. So another one of these Madness X spells. You get 3/2/2 zombies tokens on the battlefield tapped and gain 3 life. Or you get X zombies tapped and gain X life. Why the tapped zombies?
Because zombies are slow or something.
Other than that though, 5 mana for 3/2/2s and 3 life is not bad.
No, it's not, especially considering that like the blue card that made zombies costs 6 and requires you to have played or otherwise gotten into the graveyard 3 instant or sorceries.
Yeah. I actually like this card.
It
I
seems
think
pretty good. This is like it's almost bomb.
Yeah, you want to exit. Like, I want to madness this card.
Yes, you definitely do.
Um,
For a bunch.
for a lot. Because even though the zombies are entering tapped, that life gain should
Yeah.
be enough. Should be enough to at least let you untap with the zombies.
Yeah. And like this is a card I think where you want that enchantment that gives your dude skulk.
Yeah, that would be
Well-
a good combo actually. A minus.
I'm gonna go B plus. I don't think like it doesn't quite save you, but I think it goes a long way. Like if you're at parity, I think this card puts you in the lead for sure.
Oh yeah. If it's a stalled board state, being able to madness this thing for like an X of 4 or 5,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, that's going to drive the game in your direction.
Yeah, until they declaration in stone all your zombies.
Sad day.
Yeah, but then you just shrug because what are the odds, and you move
Yeah.
on with your life. All right, so B plus A minus for from under the floorboards, which it looks like if they had put one extra letter in it would not have fit on that card.
It is crammed. It would need to go the
Well-
elemental from Unhinged where the text just wraps around.
Yeah. All right, next we have Ghoulcaller's Accomplice, which is a 2/2 for 1 and a black, so it's a bear. It is common. It is a human rogue. And for 3 and a black, you may exile him from your graveyard to put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, untapped, thank God, only as a sorcery.
Yeah.
Sure.
Two for 2/2 with a relevant ability once he gets either blocked
Yeah.
or blocks something is totally fine with me.
Yeah, I'm in for Ghoulcaller's Accomplice.
Yeah. E.
Yeah, B
Is-
minus, sure, why not? Yeah, if you're in black, you're playing this guy.
Yeah, totally.
How about Ghoulsteed?
Zombie horse.
Zombie horse.
4 and a black for a 4/4. That for 2 and a black, you can discard 2 cards and return them from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
So here
This is like a sub theme. Like these last 2 cards, the exile a card from a graveyard and make a dude, and the
Yes.
discard cards and get the card back from your graveyard. Have
So we
been on
had
a
that-
lot of cards.
yeah, we had that Stitch Scob from blue.
And then we also had Drolf's, whatchamacallit.
Yeah, the masterpiece.
And then there were 2 cards in white that exiled themselves from your graveyard.
Yeah, the Dauntless
Makes-
Cathar and Near Heath Chaplain.
Yeah, and they were popping spirits out. So
Yes.
Huh.
So I
Yeah.
think the exiling whatever from your graveyard I think is a mini cycle. I think there's commons and uncommons of that that type, and then yeah, we've got these zombies that come back for the cost of a couple cards. I think this guy's actually better though than that 3/1 flyer.
Well, yeah,
Like-
because you get a 4/4 body for 5 mana, which is respectable,
Yeah.
and then for 3 mana and 2 cards, you get them back. You're not gonna be able to activate that ability probably more than once or twice a game.
Yeah.
But still, getting a 4/4 back from your graveyard, even if it is tapped, is pretty good.
So do you think with all these cards that want you to discard as part of their cost, are you holding lands in your hand?
I think past probably turn 6 you are.
So are you? Is this like Zendikar battle territory where we're playing 18 lands in a deck?
If you're playing a bunch of this guy, you probably would want to, yeah.
Just to have extra stuff to discard.
Or you're playing this guy in a very heavily madness-oriented deck.
Yeah. Then you really hope that you're just doing it to like Fiery Temper or something, so you're not paying like 8 mana to mana.
Tons of mana.
Ghoulsteed seems fine. I think I'm always gonna play the first one that I get, so I'll give him a C plus.
Yeah, I think a C plus is right.
What about Jisa's Bidding?
So we have 2 and 2 black for an uncommon sorcery that makes 2 zombies, not tapped.
Heyo.
And can madness for 2 and a black.
Man, so I feel like this is going to be a real problem. Is like which cards make zombies that come into play tapped, which ones don't. It's kind of annoying.
They can't make up their mind.
It's kind of annoying.
And then, yeah, it's like so just card to card.
And there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. Like, oh well, maybe it was that token making. Oh wait, nope, the rare one they come into play tapped. It's just like
I don't know. But for this card, 4 mana for 2/2/2s is on par with Curve.
Yeah, I mean and
madnessing it for 3 is
great.
Good. If you really had to, you can just 1 card back Ghoulsteed. So if you have 6 mana open and Ghoulsteed in your graveyard and this card in hand,
yep,
you get a 4/4 and 2/2/2s.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No.
Maybe Jisa's just that good of a necromancer that her zombies don't come to play tapped.
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. This seems pretty good. The uncommon white spell from Oath that made 2/2/2 ally knights.
Yeah,
that was good. This seems good.
No, 2/2/2s for 4 is, like I said, right on Curve. So.
And I would almost, even though it's double black, I'm almost like, if I'm seeing this, to me that tells me black is open.
Like if it's been coming around a lot.
Well, if I see this, like, pick 5.
Yeah,
black is open.
This is definitely a card that a player who's drafting black is gonna pick fairly early, I would assume.
Yeah, so I think this is like a B.
Yeah, it's good. A B minus at the lowest.
Yeah,
but probably easily just a B.
Yeah. How about Grotesque Mutation?
You mean Nevernarl's Disc?
Hey, I have
really
one of
what
those
it looks
too.
like.
That's Nevernarl's hand, man.
Yeah. So instant common for 1 in the black, you give target creature +3/+1 and the lifelink. Yay! It's a great combat trick.
It really is. The toughness boost is quite a thing.
Yeah.
Because you're like at war, even if it's a 0 power creature, you get 3 life out of it.
Yeah. I have no problem with this card. I'll play it in every black deck I draft.
Yeah, I'll definitely play the first one.
I'd probably play up to 2 or 3 of these.
Oh God, I would hate to play you in that draft. I think it's a B, like a B minus, just because it's a combat trick. It can only go so high.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is gonna ruin people's days for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a surprise. My guy's a +3/+1 in the lifelink now.
Ugh. Yeah, especially if you cast it on this next guy, Hound of the Farbogs. Is a 5/3 zombie hound for 4 and a black at common, and if you are delirious, he has menace.
Oh boy!
I mean, this guy seems like the bread and butter of the delirium deck.
Yeah, he's solid. A 5/3 for 5 that might have menace.
God, if
at turn 5 he probably does have menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this guy, if you grotesquely mutate this guy, dear Lord,
an 8/4 with menace with lifelink.
Oh my God. That's
awful. You're ruining the opponent's day.
with commons.
Yeah,
I'm all in. I think like C plus, B minus.
I think he's even just a B.
Yeah,
he's good. I like him.
And I don't know if we have this topic right here, but when do you think? By what turn have you wanted to achieve delirium?
4.
How, like on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like doing everything possible, how willing are you to go out of the way to enable delirium?
With a deck that's say 25% delirium cards, I'd be willing to go to like a 7 or an 8 to go out of my way to enable.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me with this set is like how hard do I want to work for it, and is it worth my effort?
I might even make unfavorable blocks
That's
once.
that's the thing. There is like, are you willing to get into that territory to enable future delirium cards?
Once. Because you only need the one creature in the yard.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And next we have one of our delirium enablers in No, not madness. Delirium only. We have Indulgent Aristocrat. It is a 1/1 for 1 uncommon vampire with lifelink for some reason, and for 2 and sacrificing a creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on each vamp you control.
I like it, but we haven't seen like any vampires yet.
No, we haven't. I believe most of them are in red.
Are they?
Yes.
We got a lot of the Stromkirks,
Yeah.
Vulcan
But like, so this is our like uncommon kind of build around like pro vampire guy,
If you're playing vampires, this guy is great.
and just sacrifice your non-vampire stuff.
Yeah, and put a +1/+1 counter on every vampire, including himself, who has lifelink.
Yeah.
He's probably your optimal turn 1 play in the vampire deck.
I don't know. There are some pretty good red ones that we'll get to, but yeah, I think he's probably pretty good even to drop like later, and just like have him eat some dudes and be a respectable.
Yeah, there's no limit on that ability.
Yeah. And he can even sacrifice other vamps to buff the rest of your vamps. So
He can.
he seems pretty good. I'd probably give him a B or a B minus.
Yeah.
He does take some work. Like he doesn't do
No.
everything for you, but if you work at him, you get what you put in.
Yeah, you have to pay mana for his ability, but that's fair.
Now, if only there was a way to make clues into creatures.
March of the Machines.
But then they would all just die.
He sacrificed them in response.
Ugh. All right, next
Yeah.
we have.
Liliana's Indignation.
I like this card.
X in the black. Uncommon sorcery to put the top X cards of your library into your graveyard, and then target player loses 2 life for each creature card put into the graveyard this way.
There is a dream that I have of like playing this for like X equals 7 and hitting 7 creatures. and it's like, haha, you just took 14.
In limited, if you're playing a super heavily creature saturated deck, it's probably a pretty good card. My worry would be milling out your good creatures.
Yeah, and I don't want to ever cast this if it's not going to win me the game.
No, and there's no guarantee with this
Yep.
card. You could literally mill 7 lands off the top, which
Yep.
in retrospect would probably have been the good play.
Yeah.
But still, you just paid 8 mana to mill yourself for 7 and deal no damage.
Yeah, I like what this card is trying to do.
I agree.
But I think in limited it's probably an F.
Yeah. It's too specific.
Yeah. All right, tell me about Macabre Waltz.
Well, it's a reprint.
Yay.
For 1 in the black, we're returning 2 creatures from our graveyard to our hand and discarding a card. Enables madness, gets you your stuff back. It's good.
Yeah, I like Macabre Waltz.
Yeah.
And it's common. Yay.
It is. Some Liliana dancing with the zombie.
Because she never follows someone else's lead. Jace.
Well,
I mean, good card is good. C
Good,
plus.
yeah.
C
Yep.
plus. All right, tell me about the next intro deck card.
Oh, is this our black intro deck card?
Yep.
We have the Markov Dread Knight.
Ooh,
I like the name.
it's a cool name.
So for 3 and 2 black, we get a 3/3 with flying. That for 2 and a black, we discard a card and put 2 +1/+1 counters on them.
Gross.
Yeah.
Hey, intro deck chaff.
Yep.
Why can't they make like why can't they make good intro deck rares? Why are they always awful? Well, I guess Pia and Kira Nalar aren't terrible, but they're like the only ones.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. It's
I mean,
minus D.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's that bad, but I'm really not even willing to first pick this guy. Like, I don't.
No, if I open my first pack and this is my rare, I'm probably taking something else.
This 3/3 is not big enough from what we've seen with flyers.
No, and if you really need him to be a 5/5 on the first turn he comes down, that is a lot of mana.
Yeah. Yeah, so Markov Dread Knight, I think C minus, because he still has potential, but, you gotta work pretty hard at it.
Fair enough.
Next we have a card that I really just don't like. We have Merciless Resolve. It's a common black instant for 2 and a black. And as an additional cost to sacrifice it, or to cast it, you have to sacrifice a creature or a land. But hey, you get to draw 2 cards. Oh wait, Altar's Reap is a card.
Yeah. It enables Delirium.
Yep, I know, but
And
I
that's
feel
why
like
we got it.
But why couldn't it have cost 1 and a black?
Because then it would have been good.
Oh gosh, I hate this card. Like, they made me pay more to enable Delirium? Screw you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't like this.
All right.
So
minus.
No, I think it's like I think it's like a D plus.
D plus.
But what about Mr. Crying Demon?
Is he crying? Is he sad demon?
Moose Demon.
Moose demon. So our other black mythic, Mind Rack Demon. For 2 and 2 black, we get a 4/5 of flying and trample that enters the battlefield. You put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. To enable his Delirium ability, which is at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 4 life unless you have Delirium.
Alright.
I'll take him.
I'm in. Yeah, this guy. I'll windmill slam this jackass.
A 4/5 flying trample for 4.
Yeah, let's do it.
Even if I'm not delirious and I'm losing 4 life a turn, the opponent's also losing 4 life a turn.
Yes, they are.
So yeah.
I mean, he's big enough. He beats up the Angel token. He beats up the Drogskull Cavalry. He beats up the stupid Markov Dread Knight. Like, he wins in the air.
Yeah. And then he has trample, so he's getting damage through.
Yeah. All right. So I think he's like an A minus.
Yeah.
Next we have Morkrut Necropod, which is probably in the running for most metal name in the set. He is a 7/7 uncommon slug horror for 5 and a black. He has menace, but whenever he attacks, you sacrifice a creature or a land.
I like this card. A 7/7 with menace is a huge threat.
It is big.
And I think sacrificing a creature or land, I'm fine with that for what he brings.
And especially at 6 mana, I mean, you're winding the game down. Like, that's probably your curve topper. You don't need your lands anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
I like this guy. I think he's going to end games.
Yeah, he's going to be like the Gurmag Angler of the set.
Yeah, I think he's like a B+. plus.
Yeah, he's a good card.
All right. What's next?
We have Murderous Compulsion, a black sorcery. Common for 1 in the black. We destroy a tapped creature and menace for 1 in the black. Yay, was it Assassinate?
Yeah, it is pretty much... I cannot think of situations where this is not better than Assassinate.
Yeah, being able to madness this thing out at instant speed to destroy a tapped creature for 1 in the black.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yeah, this seems really good, and it's common. So...
there's going to be a lot of tapped creatures getting destroyed.
Yeah. B?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems good. I'm almost always... But, I mean, then again, Sheer Drop in Battle for Zendikar turned out to be pretty bad.
That is true.
But there was a lot of that stupid 2/3 ally guy giving everybody vigilance.
That is also true. I think there's only been 1 vigilance card so far, and it was that Ox way back in white.
Yeah, if they were delirious.
Yeah, so there's not a ton of creatures that have protection from this inherently.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it pretty much blows up anything in the set.
Yeah.
But and you even get the chance to do it at instant speed. So this seems really... I'm gonna go B+. I have to talk myself into it.
Yeah. Raising it.
Next we have Olivia's Bloodsworn, which is a uncommon vampire soldier. It is a 2/1 for 1 and a black. It flies, it can't block, and for red, target vampire gains haste until end of turn.
I'll take it.
Yeah, here's another black vampire.
Yeah, 2/1 for 1 in the black that flies, then can't block is fine.
I like how I was like, oh yeah, 2/1 for black. Yeah, we're good on this guy. What? It's in blue? No, screw that thing. Because that's essentially what like how we're both feeling. But like that is like that's a thing. I think that's
that is
fair.
Paying a single red to give a vampire haste all day long.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
I think this guy's probably a B-.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right where
you need him in that vampire deck.
Yeah, he's gonna be good.
Outside the vampire deck, he's essentially for 1 a black and a red. He's a 2/1 with flying and haste.
Yeah,
which still isn't terrible.
No,
but
he's kind of like he reminds me of Vampire Interloper.
A little bit, yeah.
And he was good.
Yeah.
All right. What about Pale Rider of Trostad?
It's uncommon spirit for 1 in the black. We get a 3/3 with Skulk, and when it enters the battlefield, you discard a card.
So this is a 3/3 for 2.
It is. That enables madness. Skulk is almost bad on a 3/3.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad. Like it's not hurting the creature, but you're getting less use out of it than you are on something weaker.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is a weird card. I want to like it. I'm like, ooh, a 3/3 for 2.
I like it. I'll probably, if I'm playing black, I'll probably want at least a copy of this guy.
Yeah.
C+? Yeah.
He doesn't tell me that black is open. If I see him, I'm like, oh yeah, black's open. I'm going. But
no, he's not a first pick, but he's also not a last pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, C+.
Okay. Next we have Pick the Brain, which is an uncommon sorcery for 2 and a black. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile it. And if you are delirious, then you search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name and exile them. So, fun thing, at least in Limited, is that you get to cast this, take their best card, and then look at their entire deck.
Yeah, that is true. I could see it being pretty useful. I think in Constructed, it's going to be less useful.
Oh, for sure. I think it's just... it
3
costs...
in the black for a discard spell is not where you want it.
No. Even though it's unconditional beyond the land.
Yeah. But in Limited, I'll take a couple.
Yeah, I'd probably... I'd really consider playing the like 1 in a black deck.
I think I'd even play 2 without feeling bad for it.
Yeah, I mean, stealing their best card and it's not coming back. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go C.
C? Yeah.
Alright, since you're the rat man, tell me about this next card.
We have Rancid Rats.
Rancid
For
Rats.
1 in the black, we have a 1/1 with Skulk and Death Touch. Meh. It's...
I know, you don't want it to have Skulk. You want it to be like attack into 7/7s.
Yeah.
And laugh at them.
But I don't know. I think it's more useful as a 1/1 with Death Touch as your blocker.
Right, but then I just want Typhoid Rats.
Exactly.
Like D+.
Yeah.
If you want it, you can get it.
Yeah, no one's going to be fighting over Rancid Rats.
But what about Relentless Dead? Are people going to be fighting over this?
Maybe. So a 2/2 for double black with Menace. When it dies, you can pay a black and return it to your hand. And when it dies, you may pay X and return another target zombie with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's probably going to be pretty good.
It does stuff.
It does what you want it to do.
It's interesting you can't bring itself back.
Not directly to the battlefield, no. But I think that would be too good.
Or it would have the ever-present cannot block text on it.
Because it's a 2/2 with Menace, but you want this guy to block. and die.
Yeah, that's another one of those weird what do you want from me, card? You want me to attack with you, or do you want me to block with you?
Yeah. Um, so essentially, you cast him. If you got another zombie in the yard, when he dies, you pay that zombie's converted mana cost, and then a black, and you get this guy back to your hand, and that zombie to the battlefield. Not tapped.
Yeah, not tapped because there's whatever rhyme or reason.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's in the limited, probably a B.
Yeah, I don't know. The double black's kind of annoying. He definitely wants you to be real heavy black. I think he might be a C plus. I mean, just a 2/2 with menace just doesn't do it for me. Even if he is a little recursive.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have Rotten Heart Ghoul, which is a common zombie for 3 and a black. It is a 2/2, and when it dies, target player discards a card.
Sure.
Yep. Sure, yeah, I know, right? It's a common zombie.
Yeah.
I feel like I could pull this card out of any black, any set's black common library for the past 15 years.
So the only thing that sticks out to me a lot about this is its target player discards a card. So you could totally block with this guy, have him die, and then madness out that compulsive murder or something.
Yep, that's the thing. But yeah, otherwise kind of boring.
But not a terrible card.
Not terrible. So C.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Sanitarium Skeleton?
A 1/2 for 1 black. That for 2 and a black, you return him from your graveyard to your hand. He's a blocker that you can recur if you need to.
I don't like a 4 mana loop.
That's a lot of mana for a 1/2 creature.
Here's this 1/2 dink face, hanging out, and you're just what is this? What do I do with this? I think I take the land in the pack over this guy is what I do with this. He gets an F. Yeah, he gets an F.
He's a sad skeleton.
What about Shamble Back?
1 black sorcery that you exile a creature card from a graveyard and get a zombie, not tapped, and then gain 2 life. I like it.
I like that the art makes it seem like that bird pulled him out. But yeah, this is it. I mean,
for 1 black, you get to possibly deactivate your opponent's delirium, make a zombie, and gain life.
Right, but you can't cast it without a creature card in a graveyard.
Correct. It's not something you're casting on turn 1.
No.
It's probably not something you're even casting on turn 2 or turn 3.
So, by that point, how relevant is the 2/2 zombie?
I think it's relevant enough. The 2 life is probably irrelevant.
Yeah, the 2 power just doesn't seem like it's not the magic number in this set. I just don't.
I think for 1 mana, getting a 2/2 zombie is fine.
I mean, yeah, it's good. To turn off Delirium with it, they're gonna only have 1 creature in their graveyard, which how likely is that?
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, I think this is a D plus. I don't know that it's all that great.
Yeah, D plus, C minus at the highest.
All right. Next up, we have Sinister Concoction.
The card that tells you to do everything.
Yep. It is an uncommon enchantment for 1 black. And for 1 black, paying a life, putting the top card of your library into the graveyard, discarding a card, and sacrificing Sinister Concoction, you may destroy target creature.
I actually like this card a lot.
Yeah, this is an interesting card. It very much reminds me of Executioner's Capsule.
So it essentially reads, though, pay 1 black, pay a life, and activate Delirium.
Yes.
Because you put the top card of your library into your graveyard, you discard a card that wasn't the same type as the one that went into your graveyard,
right,
and you sack an enchantment. So that's 3 cards that potentially could all have different types on the second turn of the game.
Yeah, geez, for the actual mana cost of discard of 1 black to blow up a creature, hey, yeah, sure.
Any destroy target creature at instant speed for 1 black and some other stuff is pretty good.
Yeah, this seems pretty good. I don't know that I want many of them, though.
No, because that's a lot of hoops to jump through several times in the game.
Yeah.
But I would definitely
play in the first one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
C plus.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on with Stallion of the Ashmouth?
So we have a 3 and a black for a 3/3 horse nightmare. That has delirium. So as long as you have delirium for 1 in the black, he gets +1/+1 during a turn. He's kind of a shade.
Meh.
Yeah, he's unimpressive.
Not as good as Ghoulsteed.
Nope. A D.
Yeah, D. Stromkirk Mentor is a 4/2 common vampire soldier for 3 and a black. And when he enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on another vampire you control.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, this he seems pretty good. He's common. He's probably going to be able to get at least one of them if you're in Vamps.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in for a 4/2 for 4, sure.
Yeah. I think it's a solid card.
Yeah. Have you noticed they kind of got away? Like, there are no just like vampires you control get +1/+1.
Yeah, they're all like handing out counters apparently.
Yeah, like candy or blood candy. Yeah, C.
See, yeah.
Sure. Oh,
Throttle.
another reprint. Throttle.
Yep.
It's 4 and a black for an instant. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, and this is a common.
And it's a great removal spell in limited.
Yeah, it's a removal spell. Great might be pushing it, but I think it's definitely playable. You play the first one, and then you get sad if you have to play more than that.
Yeah.
C plus.
Yep.
It kills most things in this world. So
Yeah, it does.
oops, too far. So next, what do we have?
We have To the Slaughter. 2 and a black instant to target player sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker, and delirium. So if there are 4 or more cards types among cards in your graveyard, instead that player sacrifices a creature and a planeswalker.
Ooh.
That poor with a lamb.
Yeah, this is such an awkward
It's
card.
it's a rare black kill spell for the set.
And I don't like it.
I don't like that you don't get to choose.
Yeah, so if they have a creature and a planeswalker and you really want that planeswalker dead, you better have delirium.
Yeah, or if they even have a token on the board.
Yeah, so
It's just like
now if you have delirium, it seems like it's pretty good if you're getting a planeswalker with it.
yeah, because there's no way they're getting around stacking a planeswalker if you have delirium. Because it's not like they don't have like a planeswalker token.
They'd have to bounce it.
Yeah. So with delirium, this card's a C plus. Without delirium, this card's like a D.
I mean, it's an instant speed edict in limited, so at least it's going to be able to like kill a dude. I think that on its own is like a C plus. I think in constructed though, this could be a thing.
Oh yeah, totally. Where you're actually consistently running into planeswalkers.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We've got
Collector.
Tooth Collector. Here's our uncommon delirium upkeep guy for black. He's a 3/2 for 2 and a black. He's a human rogue. And when he enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And if you are delirious, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, target creature that player controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn.
Yeah. 3 mana for a 3/2 is fine.
Yeah, if you're blue black, you get to play this guy and maybe steal a creature with 3 power or 3 toughness.
He kills like all the tokens in the set.
He does.
I guess he doesn't kill zombies, but he kills all the
the clerics and
spirits and the vampire knights and
yup. That he does.
And yeah, he wears down your opponent's board.
And or makes it just easier for you to attack into it. Like the nice thing is like he's actually got a body that you're not afraid to throw into combat
with
either.
him. Yeah, I like him. I think he's a
He
C+.
seems pretty good. Yeah, C plus B minus for Tooth Collector. All right. Next we have Triskaidekaphobia, which I'm sure everybody's.
Did you practice how to say that?
No, well, I knew that's what it was. It's a rare enchantment for 3 and a black, and at the beginning of your upkeep, choose 1. Each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, then each player gains a life, or each player with exactly 13 life loses the game, and then each player loses a life.
I guess it would have been too easy if those effects were reversed.
Yeah, that'd be rude.
Then it threatens anyone who's at 12, 13, or 14 life, not just a player at 13.
Yeah.
Uh, bulk rare bin. It's an F.
Yeah. In limited, it's an F. But
even in constructed, it's an F.
I don't know. I don't know. It's much easier to deal 7 damage than it is to deal like 10 damage to make like Hidetsugu's second right work.
I guess. Yeah, but hoops, jumping through hoops.
All right. Well, tell me about the next one then, Hoop Man.
So we have the Twins of Mar Estate. For 4 and a black, we get a rare or a common vampire. That's a 3/5 and has madness for 2 and a black.
This is the card. It will kill me, and I will hate this card for the rest of my days. Like I don't want this card in my deck, but it's good.
If you're playing madness, it's fine. If you're casting it for 5, you're feeling bad.
I don't know. I still think at 5 you're like, all right, whatever, 3/5. You know.
Yeah, they are a vampire.
They're a vampire. Yeah, if you madness them, you're in business.
Yeah. 3/5 for 3 is great.
C.
Yeah, C.
Alright. Next we have Vampire Noble. She's a 3/2 common vampire for 2 and a black.
And that's what she is.
I'm done. Yeah. Here's another 3/2. So 3/2 is the new 2/3. Like there are a lot of these things.
I guess so. She's fine. She's a vampire.
Yeah.
She points for that.
You play her, and then you play the noble, and you have 2/4. You have a 4/3 and a 4/2 on the board.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No. Yeah. The C minus.
Yeah. C minus.
She doesn't do anything on her own.
No, she doesn't. And what? Yeah, send me off here. What's the last one?
Vessel of Malignity, our enchantment vessel for black. For 1 in the black, we get the enchantment, and for 1 in the black and sacrifice, target opponent exiles 2 cards from his or her hand. Activate only anytime you do a sorcery. I think it's one of the better vessels.
Yeah, I mean it's not a discard spell, so it does not fuel their madness.
No, the fact that it exiles, you don't get to choose, but exiling 2 cards from the opponent's hand.
Yeah, I mean, you could you play this and you pretty much threaten them like, once you get to 2 cards, I'm going to kill your hand.
Yeah. So yeah, C plus.
Yeah,
really.
C.
C.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this is actually a pretty good place to stop, and we can do the rest because we still have red, green, multicolored, artifact, and double face and lands to go. But It's been a while, so we'll call this episode 1. We will reconvene and get the other ones taken care of. So please check back with us, and if you like what you hear, be sure to check out the rest of our videos and drop a like and subscribe. Tell your friends.